Cool.
Hello.
Hey, I can barely hear you.
You barely hear me. Can you not hear me now?
I can hear you just a little bit.
Hold on, let me just do something very quickly. I don't know if this is going to work, Lo. No, that's not going to work. Hold on. Let me see if I can put my screen rotator
Let
on.
me see if I can turn up my headphones.
No, because if you can't hear me, other people won't be able to hear me, so I'm going to put my screen rotator on quickly. Hold on.
Okay.
Nope. I can't rotate my device. It's shouting at me. It's going to have to be this way. I do apologise if you struggle to hear me. Hold on. Can you hear me any better now?
I can see you just fine. It's better actually up and down. But I can hear you a little bit better now.
Okay, that's great. It's just basically I've got your
Can you hear me
files
okay?
on a load DVD. Yeah, I can hear you clear as crystal. I've just got your pad on low DVD, so the camera's at eye level, pretty much.
Okay.
But yeah.
All
Is it better that
right.
way or left?
Let's see if I can hear you any better with my headphones on. All right. Let's see.
Hold on, let me just do
Hey,
something.
everybody.
Let me turn you.
Oh, I can hear you much better with my headphones off. Hopefully it doesn't like reverb back to the audience. Too bad. All right.
Let me.
Hey, Miss Janet, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Glad to have you with us. You know Janet, Matt, Janet Allen?
No, I don't believe so. There's a lot of people I'm going to be talking to tonight that I'm not too familiar with, so it's going to be an interesting one.
She works with Families Against Cult Teachings and Abuses. It's a really great organization that a lot of our members know about, and a lot of people should look up because they do a lot of great things for the community. And she's one of their volunteer staff members.
Do they have a website?
Yeah, it's Families. Janet, if you would put it in the comments, it'd be great. I think it's Families Against Cult Teachings and Abuse.org, if that's right off the top of my head. But feel free to correct. Please correct me, Janet, if I'm wrong. People need to know about it because it's awesome. I've got a few minutes. Awesome. We appreciate you joining us, Miss Janet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to get started, or do you want to wait for a couple more people to join in, or it's totally up to you?
We can wait a couple of minutes. We've not got a massive issue if my phone doesn't fall. There in 2 seconds. I'm just turning that around. So I'm just adjusting everything still, making sure everything's working fine on my end because of the situation of violence and stuff. So I'm mumbling to myself at the moment like a madman. But there we go. That'll be fine if it doesn't fall. Can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Right, that works brilliant.
Janet posted the link in the comments for anybody to go look at. Awesome. Thank you so much, Janet. It's a really, really great organization to look into. So,
you want to get some water? Sorry about that. I was getting some water. It's gonna be a long night.
We're just getting everything started for anybody joining in. And we appreciate anybody who was seeing all the testing going on earlier.
Yeah, a lot of teething issues.
Oh, but it's okay. misspelled it. Families against cult teachings. You misspelled the Lee?
Teaching.
Oh, teaching.
Yeah, she put
Oh.
teach.
I'm so blind, I can't even see. That's okay.
I'm just arranging all my propaganda at the moment that I've got everywhere, so it's accessible.
Awesome. Love the fact that you have books. That's one thing I loved about Lloyd Evans, that he had a collection of books right behind him that he pulls out and references all the time, which is one thing I really like about you, is that you have the material, and which is one thing we'll talk about later, that you'll actually reference their own material. I feel like knowledge is huge when, fighting the cult, and having their material is so vital.
There's one thing this cult loves doing, it's calling critics bigots. And the biggest way of combating that is if you can just pull out a book, say, no, I've read your materials. For example, when people quote the Hubbard quote from Dianetics about a child shouldn't feel any form of uncomfortable about passionately kissing an elderly man, I just pull out the book and show them the page. Like, it's great to see their face turn as well when you can just pull up a book saying, no, Hubbard wrote it.
Right.
The church have a term that they love to use, saying, don't give me verbal text, show me the source. So
Right.
I can show them the source.
Right.
And Janet, I'm based in the UK, in Britain.
Janet is also an ex-Scientologist.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How long was she in for? Or how long was you in for, Janet? She's still here. Do you know how long she was in for?
For a long time. I can't give you, I would be lying if I told you the exact number of years, but for quite a long time.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Had a lot done to her.
Yeah, no, it's always a shame.
Yeah. She's the best person to tell her own story, but I know she's been through some stuff.
No, great to have a talk with her.
Yeah.
Definitely need to be done.
She's a great person to talk to, too. She has to, she's very grounded like you. Like, she's also one of our moderators on I Support Leah Remini. Did you know that?
No.
We all need to have like a group meeting. She was in for 20 years.
Jesus.
In
Wow.
Clearwater.
Jesus. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So, what time is it here? It is 2:06. All right, so whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we can go for it.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we can go for it. Oh, I was going to say, Janet seems like the only viewer today, but no, that's fine. We can go for it.
Well, more people, this will be quite a while. More people will come in and out, and that'll be really cool. Yeah. And it is also in the U.S. in the middle of the workday, so
yeah,
hopefully, more people will see it later and get.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're very knowledgeable about what you've been doing, so they'll learn a lot from you, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So let's start with, who are you and how did you learn about Scientology? Start from the very beginning.
All right, so I'm Mathew Pritchard. I've been a critic against the church now for roughly, actively on the streets, I've been a critic for about 3-4 years, but I've been tweeting about the church, researching the church and following the church since way back in 2012. So I've been at it for a good few years. Now, when I first started, I got involved through watching a documentary by the BBC Panorama, with John Sweeney. I watched both of them, and that kind of got me looking into the whole rabbit hole of what is the Church of Scientology. because we've got a church down Deansgate. I've walked past it numerous times over the time in Manchester. Yeah, this should record automatically. I'll post it once it's finished.
It does.
So,
And I think we're going to pull it over to YouTube too to share it publicly.
yep, definitely. Oh, I should have been doing that. Hold on, let me just do this very quickly. Ignore me.
Sure.
I'm just putting on the screen recorder, so this will all go to YouTube. Yes, start. There we go. I have no idea how quick this is going to drain my battery, but I seem to be doing all right.
I've got mine all plugged in. I've got like wires going everywhere.
Yeah, my extension lead actually should reach. I wonder if I do a bit of tugging and pulling. I should have done this before. But yeah, I've got my charger here ready just in case. But yeah, I have been doing this since 2012, researching and following the church, starting with the BBC Panorama documentary. Then after that, I went online, Googled Scientology, went to all their websites and what they said, then found the critic sites. So back when it was primarily xenu.net that I was referencing to, going for my information. YouTube was a massive source of information as well. Just Googling Scientology on YouTube just opened up a whole rabbit hole. You had Tory's videos. You had other ex-members talking out. I can't remember the names now. Names are something that I can't do, so apologise me on that. But Tory was a big starting point on YouTube. I remember within like the first week of looking into Scientology, sitting there all night once watching all her videos that she currently had in one sitting pretty much, then carried on once I finished school the next day. So I watched the whole catalogue of Tory's videos, Tory Magoo dancing in Boston, Tory speaking out freely. I watched everything to do what she could post. Then during her video, she references Anonymous quite a lot about their protests that happened back in 2008, and are still going today with like the Anons in Canada. Now, at that time, roughly around about 2012, 13, 14-ish, Anonymous Manchester was still in full force. We had a group of Anons down in Manchester protesting, and I got in contact with them and started protesting with them for a good few years. Then that takes me up to roughly just locally protesting, so about 2014-ish. Then I got in contact with the SPs after a couple of years away from the actual scene of protesting to do some online stuff. Then I started protesting with the SPs here in the UK, so that's Billy Drummond, John McGee, Fiona over in Ireland is a massive, like, big protester. Andrea, Pete, oh God, names. I hate this. I hate names.
You're good.
Yeah,
To stop
totally
you for a
awesome.
second, since this is a Jehovah's Witness group, just for terminology, can you explain what a SP is for anybody who hasn't watched Leah's show, doesn't know what an SP is?
You might need to tell me to do that quite a lot, because once I get going with the SciTech, it just like starts coming out. So an SP is a suppressive person. That's anyone who's been deemed an enemy of the Church of Scientology and is targeted to a process of fair game. Now, fair game in L. Ron Hubbard's own policies is an SP is liable to be tricked, sued to, lied to, or physically destroyed by any means by any Scientologist without discipline of that Scientologist. In other words, as an enemy of the church, they can do whatever they want to you, when they want, and physically destroy you and your whole life to shut you up. And that's what most ex-members go through, as you're probably aware of, like such as Leah Remini, Mike Rinder, the big ex-Scientologist, constantly getting harassed, followed, stalked, people turning up at the door, hate messages online, such as the whole stand. And John McGee is absolutely amazing, Janet. John McGee is lovely.
He's great. Him and Samantha Freeman, they're amazing.
Oh, Sam Freeman's amazing as well. Can't fault Sam. I've never had the privilege of protesting with Sam though, sadly, but she's amazing.
Yeah. It's equal. It's equal to an apostate. That's right, Janet.
Oh, that's not come up for mine yet. I didn't see that. That's probably gonna come through in a minute. Hold on, let me just do this. I'm gonna turn off my screen mirror. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna turn off this. I'll just upload it later. So ignore me. I'm just rambling to myself again while I'm just trying to set up my phone to like preserve my battery life.
Totally fine.
There we go. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into the whole rabbit hole and mess of what is Scientology, just through research and just accidentally stumbling across a video on YouTube about a cult, and it just spiraled
Isn't,
massively.
isn't it crazy how it happens like that? Just randomly.
Oh yeah.
That's how it's with me too. I was just scanning the channels. I mean, I know it started with Leah's show, but it goes so much deeper, and I don't think people realize it than even Leah's show. Leah's show just barely touches the surface of what Scientology is really capable of and what they hide.
Yeah.
But they're very transparent in what they do if you just look and do, read their documentation.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's like we was discussing this earlier when we was doing all the tests about how Scientology claimed to not practice disconnection, but in their introduction to ethics book, 2 seconds. Oh, why did he bring him up? Sorry, 5 seconds. In the introduction to ethics book, it clearly states that disconnection handling is simply that disconnect or handle. So they make it very obvious internally, and externally, if you're willing to look a bit deeper, like they do very much do as they say they do. They just try covering it from public view for whole PR and handling situations. But
right,
they are stupidly open about what they do in very discreet ways, if that makes
right.
sense, if that's not a whole contradiction of a statement.
No, it totally makes sense. Janet said, I protested with John at Flag Down, a rebel with a cause.
Oh yeah, John's unstoppable when he's out protesting. Same with William Drummond. They're both
Yeah,
absolutely unstoppable once they get going.
I'm sure. I haven't had the pleasure to meet either one, but I've heard great things, and I've heard they're great to talk to.
Oh, definitely, they're both full of knowledge.
Yeah. Um, so, do you feel, and this may be like a little bit of a taboo question, but I feel like you can answer this appropriately, not appropriately, but sensitively. Do you feel like there is anything beneficial about Scientology?
Oh, this is a touchy question where I've had debates with this before with people. This doesn't on the end well. But it's a double-edged sword, Scientology. It's a double-edged sword. It's like it depends completely how you're looking at it. On the most part, complete borderline blanket view of Scientology, no. It's oppressive, it's abusive, it's manipulative, it's controlling. They disconnect family, they'll financially abuse you, they'll mentally abuse you, and physically abuse you. But in the deep underlying factors of it that have been very much like covered up by all this abuse that Hubbard laid out originally, I believe in the smallest of instances, in personal situations, not all around, but in personal situations, parts, and I mean very small parts of Scientology tech can benefit the person if applied in the right way without abusing the member you're applying it with, abusing yourself, or abusing any person you're surrounding by applying it. I believe there is very, very small parts of the tech which you can find in any other organization. Let me put this out there. You can find it in any other organization out there. You don't have to go to Scientology for it. But
Right.
Scientology do offer very, very small teachings that could, in the right situation, be applied for good. If that answers the question for you. So
Sorry, I think my phone cut out.
yeah.
Uh, but I think I caught it. I think you're
But
right,
yeah. Sorry,
Um,
go on.
I mean, everybody's going to have varying opinions. I don't think there's anything, necessarily right, but I definitely agree. Um,
Yeah,
and I
Janet, that's
definitely,
spot on. That's
I definitely,
exactly.
huh?
I was going to say what Janice posted. The lower end of the bridge has a lot of universal truths. LRH just repackaged it and took all the credit, which is spot on. He did, so you don't have to go for
Mhm.
Scientology for it. But at the lower end of the bridge, such as where did I put it? In one of the courses that I did at the life improvement courses, one of these like £35 course, not expensive, gives you a few basic teachings about how to how to improve relationships with others, how to handle confrontation, arguments, get back into contact with someone, just get on basically. If you strip this right down to the core base of it, it just tells you how to be a decent person with someone else, how to
Yeah,
communicate with them, and how to not cause arguments or fights, and how to diffuse
right.
them situations if there is like an uproar. So at the very low levels of the bridge, like the life improvement courses, yeah, there's definitely fundamental truths that could be applied to everyone's day-to-day life, and the world would be a better place. It's just because L. Ron Hubbard had a way of twisting it and making it suit his own ulterior motive is why it's so damaging at the moment. Well, has always been so damaging.
Right. Right.
And John McGee would absolutely hit me for saying
that. Well, you have a right to your opinion, you know, just like everybody else does.
I'm just making a joke. John McGee's very, very stronger than that. Oh, you're breaking up there.
Oh, am I now?
You sound like a robot then.
Oh no! Hello, I am a robot. Just kidding. Hopefully, I'm not a robot anymore, am I? Am I roboty?
No, not really. It's cutting in and out a bit, but you should be all right.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. This one is, I know you do, so it's kind of a silly question, but I want you to elaborate on it, and you can be as specific as possible and take as long as you want. Have you ever had any personal encounters with Scientology or a Scientologist offline?
Oh no, that's a funny. I've had two mate account. Oh, Scientologists, real life encounters. That's a fun one, you know. They used to absolutely terrify me. So I'm just reading what Janet's saying at the moment. It's so true.
That is the part that sucks because they are the truth. And Scientology dangles the carrot of eternity, which is the trap in all religions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just
she's right.
John McGee wouldn't like saying that. You're spot on. I was going to say, my encounters with Scientology outside of the internet have been a very, very fun one. I have had encounters while walking down the street, bumping into a Scientologist from the local log, saying hi to them and just watching them turn around instantly and walk the other way. Like, genuinely been walking down the street in Manchester, I've seen a Scientologist walking towards me. I've watched them turn round, cross the road and walk back the way they came, so they wouldn't interact with me.
Why?
Because I've been declared a suppressive person. I've been declared an enemy of the church here in the UK. The information that I'm spewing about the church apparently is in theta, which is misinformation in the eyes of the church. Corrupted, wrong, harmful, abusive, manipulative. According to the church, I'm a pathological liar. I have emotional instability. Trust me, I once got called by a Scientologist a 1-1 stalker with poison.
Oh no. So how did the church even, I know you've done protests, but how did the church come to know about you specifically?
So when Anonymous was protesting, they had strict guidelines in place about how to protest, which I abided for when they was still running. But as soon as they left, I kind of went off the rails a bit. I went full on take no prisoners protesting. I would be outside the org, no mask on, music blaring, anti-Scientology music blaring out, handing out leaflets. I'd have a massive banner that said Scientology kills. I was handing out.
Oh no, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Give it a second, I just readjust. Are you there still?
Yeah, it broke up just a little bit.
I was handing out these. Yeah, I was handing out these business cards, basically saying who I was, where I was from, when I was protesting. Had my Twitter handle on there. So I made it very, very obvious who I was and like where I was coming from. I started giving Scientologists my name. I filled out forms online and in the org, giving them my address, my email address, my phone number. I didn't hide myself from the church very often. I keep myself very open in that fact.
Right.
I think the biggest kicker came to them though. And when they started to realise who I was, it was when I was down in Plymouth living with William Drummond. Sorry, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm
But
listening.
yeah, I think one of the biggest slap in the face the church got, and when they learned who I really was, is when I was living down with William Drummond down in Plymouth. And at that point, they already kind of knew who I was. I've done protested at the IES before that. I'd been over to Ireland and Dublin and all over the place. But I went into the Plymouth org completely undercover. Different name, got my hair cut, changed differently to how I normally dress, and joined staff. I started basically working for the church. I have all my contracts here, participation of staff. Signed all the documentation about I have no right to my pre-clear files and they can keep all the information they want about me. Participation in church services and courses. I was in the I joined
you
staff
joined
for a
staff.
grand total of 3 days. I was on staff for 3 days, I was on for 3 days before they found out who I was. But I went in the church, I did a basic course. I was in there for 3 weeks overall. 3 weeks I was in the church. I spent 2 weeks doing basic courses, my life improvement courses, going to regging sessions, which was a traumatic experience to say the least. Sitting in a room where they're basically telling people that they're out ethics, basically being sinners for not giving money to the Church of Scientology. That was horrific. Doing normal basic Scientology stuff. Then 2 Sea Org members came down to the Plymouth org, started basically getting the staff to sign up for, the members sign up for staff. And I got dragged into that pooling process, as you put it. When I say when I say dragged into joining staff, I mean I was sat in a room, me and the Sea Org member sat face to face, and I was being asked questions like, you want to help the world, don't you? You want to improve yourself and others around you. You wouldn't want to see people suffer, would you? And what am I going to say to that? Yes, I want to see people suffer. No, I don't want to improve myself and others, and no, I don't care about the planet. Of course, I was like, yes, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to see the world grow. I was like, well, why not commit yourself then? Why not join staff? And I was like, isn't that a bit soon? I've only been doing this 3 weeks. It's like, well, at the end of the day, you join staff, you get your courses paid for, you progress, and you help other people. What have you got to lose? I was like, well, I'm working at the moment. Well, we pay you. We can provide help with accommodation. We can provide help with like fundings for yourself, clothing, all these different great stuff like this that I could have. Now, I knew at the time, because I'm a critic, I knew it was all bullshit. But I was in that room for 2 hours with this Sea Org member pushing me over and over again, repeating himself until I eventually said, fine, okay, let's get me on staff.
Oh my gosh, after 3 weeks. That's wild.
3 weeks inside the building. 3 weeks inside handling.
Wow.
So she said they are hardcore.
3 weeks.
Yes.
Is all it took them to eventually sign me for staff. Oh, Janet.
That's called crush rap.
Yeah. In other words, stat day was coming up. They needed people to fill in the books. They needed people on staff. They didn't want you to have a chance to think about it. They just boom straight away. I played hard to get though. I gave him 2 hours of it, and by the end of it, it was like we just signed the documents, and I was like, "Why should I low?" He's like, then the same questions over and over and over again, and me handling objections like, "I don't want to at the moment. I need to think about it. I need to worry about my finances. I'm not sure if this is the right move to make. I need to talk to my family and friends about this. See what they say." And I was like, "Hold on. So you're gonna let your whole infinite lifetime be dependent on your family and friends? You're worrying about your finances when you've got a whole world out there suffering." It was an amazing 2 hours experience, but I feel sorry for anybody who has to go through it after that. It's horrific. And at the time, I was 18 at the time.
I bet.
And if I wasn't
Wow.
if I didn't know about Scientology prior to going in undercover, boom, that would have been it. They wanted to get me on the post at the HCO based at the top of the communications office within the org. They wanted me to handle all the communications. They wanted to become a HCO officer, Hubby Communication Officer. So all the communications coming in and out of the church would go through me. They wanted to send me off to St. Hill for 3 months for intensive training. That's basically signing me up for the Sea Org at that point. But they wanted to send me to St. Hill for 3 months for intensive training.
That just it blows me away, because like you know nothing, you know, about the outside critic world. If you were just this young 18-year-old boy, you know, or young adult going in knowing nothing about Scientology, you could be in St. Hill right now, you know.
I would. I can without a word of doubt, if I didn't know what Scientology was, they put me exactly. They put you in a situation where you've just signed a contract for 2.5 years at least. So when you sign one of these contracts for staff, give you a quick rundown of it, then find the page. 2 seconds. Let me find the right page.
Janet said, all you have to do is tell them you've done LSD and they'll let you be in regard to joining the Sea Org.
Oh,
yeah.
Where is it now? So I'm
think,
looking at the bit where it says I devote 2.5 years of something. Oh, sorry, bear with me 2 seconds. I'm pulling out all my contracts at the moment. Sorry, what was you saying?
Man, at least give you like a sign-on bonus or something.
Exactly. Well, it's all these contracts. I've got it somewhere. Yeah. I want to devote the next 2.5 years of this lifetime to actively forwarding the work of the church. I understand that making this application and pledge, I am declaring the deepest personal commitment to Scientology and to accomplishing this purpose. So when you sign up for doing courses and stuff at Scientology, 2.5 years. So at this point, I would still be down at St. Hill. Without a word of doubt, because that's what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. If they didn't find out who I was, I would have happily been an SP in St. Hill right now causing havoc. I would have happily gone for it. If they didn't take a picture of me and send it down to St. Hill and Janet Laveau come up to like our org to find out who I was and recognise me, I would have happily gone down to St. Hill for 3 months and then come up to Plymouth Org and started running the HCO department. Imagine that at SP running the communications office in a church where all the church communications are coming through me. Imagine how much of a scandal that would have been for the church. I was well up for it.
Oh man, Davey would have had a shit fit when he found out.
Trust me, if I was down at St. Hill or Sea Org and I was like, well, I'm an SP, Billy Drummond said hi, I would have been whisked away. And everyone, the Sea Org that raised me up, the staff of the org, the whole org would have been stripped down there doing the whole
lower level conditions, like
exactly. They would have all been put in treason straight away.
Yes, for sure. Oh man, they would probably be when OP3 was released, they'd probably be in the same boat as them.
Oh, Jenna, I wanted to go for it. I wanted to do it. It's just the only reason I didn't get a chance to go to that position is because when I signed up, one of the Sea Org members took photos of me and other people who were signing up for staff, and they got down to St. Hill. And because at St. Hill they've got facial recognition cameras, and I've been on camera there protesting. 2 days later, after them photos got took of me, I was in the church. Janet Laveau walked in. Is top ulcer here in the UK. The local ulcer in Plymouth came in. The ED came in. I was dragged into the office with the Sea Org officer, them three. Sat down and they had a file on me like this. They had a file on me literally this high of photos, my Facebook, my Twitter, emails I sent about Scientology, not even to Scientology, emails I sent to other people, my whole Twitter feed, my whole Facebook feed, all the friends and SPs I'm connected to on the table in a stack like this saying, we know who you are, what are you doing in the org, who sent you in here, who are you working for, what was your intentions, what materials have you gathered, what was you doing? You do realize this is fraud, we can call the police. I'm like, you do realize that you've signed me up for an organization that I had no idea what I was signing up for, under pressurized contexts, and I could sue you at any moment. They was like, how about you just leave and we let this go? But yeah, Janet, they have a file on me, like, that's at least this high. I imagine over the last couple of years, it's now gone to about this, but they've got a file on me.
Yeah, they are ruthless. That is definitely one word that definitely describes that. Okay.
The hardest moment was, though, because the tech gets to you so quickly when you're inside it and around it for so long. Like, I was in the church from basically 6 at night until 10 at night, Monday to Friday, and Saturday I was in there from the morning till night, from 10 till 6. What really gets to you is, after being around that environment, everyone in there wants to do good for the planet. You can look at them and genuinely see they want to do good for the planet.
Yeah.
And they genuinely want to do good. They believe in what they're doing. And they're lovely people. Scientologists are amazingly kind people. They got into it because they believed they could do good.
Right.
And the hardest thing for me was being told I'm not welcome there. I was actually heartbroken a bit. I was like, hold on, I can't talk to any of these amazing people ever again. And I knew I wouldn't be able to, but it was the whole fact of, hold on, these are great people, just made a poor choice. I could have done something to help them, but I know no matter what I would have said, would have just got me kicked out straight away. I wouldn't have had time in there. There was nothing I could have done, but it still upsets me today just knowing that them people I had a connection with.
Yeah.
I can't contact them anymore. I can't talk to. I can't see, because they are amazing people. Like, it's really, really sad. Like, it's a hard thing to explain in words. Like, I had a real connection to that church. I was in there for 3 weeks, and yeah, I seen some stuff that shocked me, like the Reggie sessions, but the rest of it was just a laugh. I had a great time within the Church of Scientology. I had a great time. Like, if you're in there in that mindset, I went into it as a cult, but I got that out of my mind. I just stripped everything I knew about it and went in there wholeheartedly. I want to know it's like a real perspective on the Church of Scientology.
Right.
And it's an organization wanting to do good for the best of the planet, wanting to help people and help themselves. And it's a really nice place to be. I was in there, I was comfortable, I didn't feel uneasy, I didn't feel threatened, I didn't feel unsafe. I felt like I could walk up to any of them at any time with any of my problems and they would have just helped me out. And I wish I could go back in at any time and say hi to them, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly, Jana. The sense of community and connection is amazing inside of a church. It's inside of an org. It's one of them experiences that I'm really actually thankful to have. It's one of them experiences that I'm never going to forget, because if I didn't go down to Plymouth and they didn't know who I was down there, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I made it very clear from the get-go who I was, like, and it was probably one of the most interesting 3 weeks of my life. Like, genuinely, it's a really hard topic for me to still talk about. Do you know what I mean? It's something in there that's just like when I was in there as well, you get a sense of, hold on, is everything that I've read and protesting about even right? Because you've seen all these people not doing any wrong, not committing any acts of like offensiveness, not being abusive towards each other, being nice, wholehearted. You start questioning everything that you've known about Scientology in there. And I was sat there like one day in the org, just looking around, just doing my course in the course room, looking around, walking around, going on my breaks, talking to them while having a cigarette. And I was just stood there like, this isn't the same Church of Scientology that I've heard all these abuse stories about. This isn't the same Church of Scientology that I've heard all like the false abortions, the disconnection, the beating of staff. Oh no, Janet, I knew it was coming from day one. I went in there. It was my own fault I got attached. I knew that I was going to be shunned and disconnected. Like, it's just I didn't realize it was going to affect me this much, even to this day, 2 years on, still talking about it. But that's when I gained the sense of, because I used to be very, very shouty when I protest about Scientology. But after that experience, I toned it down a lot. I tell people on the streets that these people in there are amazing people. They're just read on wrong information. That's why I carry the books. That's why I don't scream at staff members. I don't shout abuse at them. I don't shout stuff in the org. I don't tend to be aggressive towards them or abusive towards them, because they're victims. And it changed my whole perspective on protesting and like how to handle the church. What I gained after that experience was realizing that it's upper management of a church. So it's like people in like not even like Saint Hill, because they're in trouble as well. They're in a lot of like difficult situations. It's like people over at Clearwater, Florida, like David Miscavige's Henton and the board, for example, the RTC. They're the dicks, sorry to use foul language, that are fucking up the whole church. Like, it's not the everyday Scientologist that's the issue. It's upper management and the policies that Hubbard put in place. And just how David, like the Hubbard, like the policies that Hubbard put in place are disgraceful. Some of them are horrible. But it's David Miscavige when he took it a bit further. David Miscavige came in with like brute force. He forced his way into power. David Miscavige does. Hubbard left the church to a husband and wife. I can't remember the name. Then when Hubbard died, David Miscavige basically burst in there, declared them, kicked them out basically, got rid of the whole board, and took forced control. And that's when all the abuse started. That's when he got rid of the president, Herbert Jets. That's when he got rid of the whole upper management, started kicking them out because he felt threatened, and that's when shit started to fall inside the church. Like, the stories of people with Scientology happened their whole life while Hubbard was alive. Then mate David Miscavige came into power. They realised the change in the church. They left, they fled because they knew it was going south. So it's crazy seeing the perspective of people like Goldbase who are generally going through shit and being abused on by the upper management, then going into a normal Class 5 org. That's an org like you see on the street, a Class 5 org. Walking in and seeing all these happy, smiley faces of people just trying to do the best. Now, you can tell looking at them that they're not being paid, not being looked after. But if you didn't know that prior to going in that they're not being paid, you wouldn't know what you was looking for. You just think we're normal people trying to do the best for the church. It is literally, as Tori Christman says it, it's like the Truman Show. It is literally like the Truman Show. Yeah. As soon as you walk into a Class 5 org, it's like the Truman Show. Like, they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. They have no idea what David Miscavige is doing or what, like, where Shelley is or anything about Shelley. They don't know where Herbert Jets is or what's happened to Herbert Jets or what the whole is. They have no idea. They genuinely just don't know because they don't need to know. They don't get told. They just carry on in their little bubble of running the org, making sure stats are in by Thursday. Stats go out. Happy as Larry. It's a weird thing to experience. It's a whole culture shock.
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely not been like in as deep as you, but just going into the org that I went into, the Denver org, the gentleman that I met, he seemed genuinely like paranoid to me. I didn't get to know him like you did. I went in as just a visitor and he had no idea. And honestly, I was with my wife, so I'm automatically labeled what was. Well, I don't know if I was or not, but he wasn't mean though. You could tell he was genuinely paranoid.
What day did you go in, if you don't mind me asking? Do you remember what day of the week you went in?
Yes, I can't remember. I know his name. He said he was a Grammy-nominated composer, but he was working as a receptionist. I still have the recording of the whole thing.
Oh my God.
I do. I have not.
You need to give me that so I can post it on the YouTube channel if you don't mind. That'd be great.
Well, we need to check the laws in Colorado to make sure there's no,
Yeah.
Because in Oklahoma, only one person needs to know you're recording, but I don't know if that's the same in Colorado. But I will forward it on to you so you can listen to it. But he genuinely seemed to care about, what he was doing. But it just, to me, it was so sad that he felt like, I know that celebrities or, people like that do have jobs within the orgs, but it doesn't seem to me like, maybe I'm wrong, that they would hold, that low of a position, being a Grammy-nominated composer. His suit was very tattered. He looked like he wasn't paid very much. He looked like a public Scientologist that gave all his money to Scientology,
Was this an ideal org you went into or a normal Class 5 on the street org?
It was in Denver.
Is it quite a big flashy building that you went into, or is it like a small like bookshop sort of place?
It was pretty big. It was very nice. And
I imagine it was an ideal.
Yes, you do need to check laws, Lucy. They have to work their way up, just like
Yeah.
corporate America. Denver is a class 5 org.
Okay. So yeah, that explains a lot then. So
It's a beautiful building. I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, Kirstie Alley funded it,
oh
but
wow.
I could be wrong.
What you need to remember is that's kind of the same situation happened when I first walked in. The orgs aren't used to people just walking off the streets. You've got to understand that they're not used to people just walking in saying, "Hi, I'm here to have a look around." Then they have signs up welcoming it, but then they're not used to it. They're used to just dealing with active Scientologists coming in to do courses, going out, buying services. They're used to all that. They're not used to a random member of the public walking in going, "Hi, I want to have a look around." It's a shock
Right.
to the system, so you can understand why. I kind of get why I was a bit skeptical. Like, it was the same when I walked in. Like, when I walked into the org in Plymouth, like, I went to the front desk saying, "Hi, I've just moved to the area. I've just seen your org, found out you can help people. Is there any chance I can look around?" They gave me a look around, but I had every single person in that org constantly watching me from the side of their eye, like, who is this guy? What is he doing? Because they have no idea if you're a reporter, you're an enemy of the church, what your goals are, if you're a 1-1, convert the hostile. They have no idea of that, and they're trained to suspect everyone in the WOG world has an ulterior motive.
Right.
So that's probably why he was a bit skeptical. But honestly, like you said, once you started talking to him, they are very passionate. They're very lovely people. They just want the
Yeah.
best for everything.
He was definitely not a bad person at all. And you could tell he cared.
Yeah,
But he was like, it was so like he was so nervous to the point he was looking down my shirt to make sure I didn't have like a microphone. He
they're
was looking
trained
in the
to be
wrong.
paranoid.
Yeah, he was looking in the wrong place, but because it was in my pocket.
Trust me, from when you start working staff on in an org, you are trained very heavily to be paranoid of people walking in because it's not a usual thing. They don't like tell you how to expect it or what to do. They just tell you like anyone walking in could be this, 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 or this. Don't let anyone in
Yeah.
who's this, or this. And they're like,
Yeah.
how the fuck do I know like this is something like that? So everyone that walks in gets treated with the same blank canvas. This person's probably an enemy. Keep an eye on them. Be very skeptical. Be nice, but don't be too nice.
Yeah.
It's and the reason I reckon he was so worried is because if you let someone in the church who's an SP or an enemy of the church or a critic or like a reporter, someone who's basically a merchant of chaos, as they put it, a reporter, a policeman, someone in the government, you're getting put on a lower conditions assignment, possibly put on the RPF, which is the Rehabilitation Project Task Force, which doesn't exist.
Of course it
So
doesn't.
they're trained to be very, very, very skeptical of everyone, just because if they let someone in, they're putting in a condition of treason. It's
Right.
like, I remember going back to the org I was in after I got kicked out, walking past, and Mac Jeffries, the ED of the org, the person who runs the org, Victoria Boyce, and her partner, I can't remember his first name, but Mr. Boyce. They all have a high post within the church, and they all looked run down, tired, like they've not slept for about a week. The Sea Org was running the org. There's a Sea Org in the front, a Sea Org in the back. It looks like literally as soon as they found out an SP was in there, they got put into lockdown. It was like military law in there. Martial law went down because that's what happens when an SP gets in an org. It's a whole instant basically treason, and you get an ethics mission sent in to correct that org and get it back up to stats. And no one wants that to happen because if that happens, you're not sleeping for a week. You're not getting paid.
Yeah.
You are working day and night to make sure this org is corrected and there's no one else in there. I wouldn't put it past in Plymouth org. Every single member of that church would have been set checked there and then, asked, what did he tell you? What did you know? What did you tell him? What did he ask about? What did he want to know? What did he say? What courses did he take? What did he look like? Did he seem suspicious? Did he have any recording devices on him? Did you check for recording devices? What was his meter charts? They would have, that's when you're on the e-meters, they would have asked you what his like spectrum would have been. Oh yeah. When I was there, when they was there recruiting the Sea Org mission, was there the chief Sea Org members, they was walking around like they owned the place. They had people calling them left, right, and centre, like they could do whatever they want. and they were sent there to fundraise as well for the ideologue. Like they were sent there on an ethics mission, a regging mission. They was telling people to quit their jobs to fundraise full time for this ideologue, put their life savings into it in a meeting. It was crazy. They have so much power. They walk into the org and they say jump. Everyone's like, how high?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, I get why that person in Denver was so worried when you walked in. It's just an unusual thing to happen in an org. Someone's walking off the streets. It's funny. It's like this just put in perspective for how well known I am in the UK at the moment. Like how much they watch me. My partner, who knows nothing about the Church of Scientology, I've been blocking all their social media. I got them to send a message on Facebook to the Manchester org saying, do you know my partner, Mathew Pritchard? He used to protest against you. I don't really know much about Scientology. Like, you tell me all this stuff. Like, what should I do? They blocked her instantly.
Oh my God.
They blocked my partner. Like, instantly, just for mentioning my name. She didn't have to send them a picture of me. She just said my partner's Mathew Pritchard, and boom, blocked.
You're done.
So she said that's part of the mind control. Sea Org members have superiority complex. They thrive on it. Actually, the elite.
Yeah, I believe that's the way they keep them, keep people who are most dedicated, loyal, to give them that,
Well, yeah, if you do well, you
imaginary
get
power.
rewarded. Oh yeah, they work on the principle: if you do well, you get rewarded. If not, you're going to be punished. So they're like, I want to be the best of the best. I'm in the Sea Org. I'm the elite of Scientology. I'm the most dedicated member. And I'm going to serve my billion years with pride. I'm going to further mankind and get the planet cleared. They have that whole mindset of I'm the best. I've been enrolled into this service. I'm here to do a duty for mankind. And they push it forward. Don't get me wrong. They are some dedicated people. They're very polite and very kind. But they are dedicated members. They don't put up with any bullshit. If you're doing something wrong, they will shout at you and tell you you're doing it wrong. They're not scared of like whoever it is. Like I've seen them come down in an ED before now of an org say you can't be doing that. Ethics. Get in my office. Like
So you're talking about shouting, which they've become a little bit. When you're in Scientology, you become a little bit desensitized too because of TR bull baiting. Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay, so the TRs. So there's two versions of the TRs. You've got the training routines, then you've got the upper end docs. So the TRs is what someone does in a communication course. So that's the process of very first sitting in a chair, eyes open, looking forward, no moving. So I would demonstrate, but it's practical. I do it quite well, so I'm not going to. Then it goes on to sitting in front of someone else, not moving, staring straight at them, no blinking. Then bull baiting, that's when, after going through these processes of putting yourself in a disassociated state, through being able to sit there and just zoning out so nothing around you bothers you, of getting another member to come up and start screaming at you, going to threaten to punch you, but don't actually hit you, they just pretend to. And if you flinch, you've got to restart. Just training you to be able to like look someone in the face who's screaming at you and just not flinch, or even smirk, or laugh, or cry, or break down. They make you as strong as they possibly can make you to confront anything. Because they believe out there is a bad world that's going to come at you with a ton of bricks. So they want you ready for that. And it's also so if you're doing something wrong and a superior member of staff comes up to you and shouts at you, you're not going to break down. You just go, yes, sir, and move on. They'll let you in that disassociated state so you can just function. You can pull over the bullshit that's going to go on in a church. You can just, it just becomes methodic to you. It just becomes repetitive. Then after that bull baiting TI, you've got the other ones such as like I can't remember what it's called. I think it's basically reading sections of Alice in Wonderland, which, as you know, Alice in Wonderland, when you took sections of the book, it's a very, very weird book, and that's basically reading bits of that back and forwards into, and you don't question the logic of it, just not questioning anything. That trains you not to question anything that's thrown at you. Then you've got a TR which is asking questions like, do fish fly? And you go, yes or no. And it's like, do birds swim? And just random daft questions that you're like, is the moon green? These aren't actual questions. These are me throwing examples off the top of my head of like sort of questions they can ask. And that's to, again, just to get you to obey and just be like, yes, 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 no, yes, yes, no.
Yeah, tries to make you emotionless and robotic.
Exactly. Then once you've done all the TRs, that's basically kind of your gateway to staff. That's so you're robotic, you're following orders, you're not questioning anything. Then you've got the upper indocs. Now they're more of an advanced level of the TRs for people going into like the Sea Org. So it's just more indoctrination. Like they don't even cover it up like it's indoctrination. They literally call it the upper indocs, the upper indoctrination. They don't cover it up in the slightest. Yeah, exactly, Janet. You flunk on any drawers if you have any emotion whatsoever. It takes time. I didn't actually get the fortune of doing the communication because I actually spoke to them quite well apparently. I said to them, I want to do the communication course. I have a problem communicating with people, and it's like, no, you've come in here fine with us. You're talking to us. You're flirting with what you're saying. You don't seem nervous or anxious. What's your real problem? So I made some bullshit about my dad to get on the how to replay, not bullshit, but real life situation with my dad to get on the relationship course. But yeah, they wouldn't let me do the TRs sadly, which I really wanted to do because they look fun to do. Like I've done it. People aren't gonna let me saying this yet again, but I've done it on the street while protesting before now. With people asking me what goes on in Scientology, I'm like, do you really want to know what it's like when you join staff? Stand there, don't move, don't blink, don't smile. And there was like, what? Flunk, redo it. And there was like, what? Redo it. Then eventually they'll just stand there and not blink. And I was like, you flunk, redo it. For a good 10 minutes out, this person stood there and they're like, what is that? And like, that's one part of a course in Scientology. They're like, whoa, that's crazy. Nope, and walk away.
Isn't that wild? I felt so stupid when I actually realized what indoctrination really meant.
Exactly, they plaster it right in front of you like that it's indoctrination. They don't hide upper indocs as indoctrination. They literally, like, I was in the org and I was walking upstairs and on a big poster they had upper indocs get like sign up today, like literally.
They say indocs.
Upper indocs. They literally on a massive poster they had do your upper indocs.
Oh my!
And no one
Wow.
goes at it. I was walking past it for like days, not realizing. Then I was looking at it like, hold on, that's upper indocs. That's upper indoctrination. Like, what the hell? It took me about 3 days to realize it, but I eventually clicked. I just took a moment and looked at it. I was like, that's upper indoctrination. They're literally calling the upper TRs upper indocs. They're literally making it obvious that it's indoctrination.
Yeah.
That's the name of the course.
That's the name of the course. Oh my goodness.
It's crazy that they don't hide this matter. They just keep it there, plastered in broad daylight. Like, yeah, we're going to indoctrinate you, but you're not going to question it because we've already taught you not to question stuff.
Right.
That's how confident Scientology is that their tech works. That's how confident they are about it. Yeah, that's literally how confident they are about the tech. They know their tech works, so they can plaster what they're going to do to you all over the walls, and you're not going to blink an eye at it because you know it's coming.
Right. So share some of the books, some of the books that you were sharing with me earlier, some of the things you share, in protesting and stuff like that.
Okay. So you've seen my contracts. I take them to every protest so people know if they ever join Scientology what they're going to be in for.
Right.
Then when I'm out protesting, I like to take my books with me. Now, I take, these are the books I have, and I take every single one out protesting with me. I take Dianetics. I love to read extracts of Dianetics to them because it's batshit crazy to anyone who's walking down the street and don't have a clue what Scientology is. And they're looking about it. It just gives them a big, wide scope of like, this is what they're going to ask you to read. This is going to have way of stuff in it that you're not going to understand, such as Phaetons and BTs. Well, not BTs, that's up for like courses, that's OT levels, but it's going to tell you about Phaetons and like everything that's happened in your life is because of one point that happened before your birth. And people are like, what? And I was like, then I just go through it with them and just go to pages, different excerpts that are interesting for people who don't know what Scientology is to read. So it goes on about like psychosomatic illnesses, how Hubbard believes any illnesses that you have is caused by a moment that's happened to you in this lifetime in the past or before your birth. Such an example, if you're in your mum's uterus womb and she bumps into a coffee table and goes, ah shit, I'm an idiot. Every time someone bumps into, when you're born, every time someone says, ah shit, I'm an idiot, you're going to get a pain from when she bumped into the coffee table and believe you're an idiot, and it gets reconfirmed. And they call that basic. So they believe every single point of like turmoil in your life is caused by a previous point, which is caused by a previous point, which is caused by a previous point, which is caused by a point before your birth. And your goal of auditing and Dianetics is to go back through all them points to the point of like where you realize where that's come from and to handle it. And then apparently all your illnesses go away. And you get a better eyesight, you become more smart, you get a higher IQ, you don't get sick, you don't catch the flu. There's been, stories of people who have had like infections their whole life, and the minute they've gone clear, boom, they're gone. So Dianetics is a great one to explain the core beliefs of what Scientology was based on when it was Dianetic Centers before Scientology was founded. Then I take out my other Dianetics books, which go into a bit more detail about ARC. This is Dianetics 55. This is ARC, so affinity, reality, and communication. They're the core principles of any communication with someone. You've got to be communicating with them like we are now. We're talking. We've got affinity. We like each other. We get along. And we have a reality on the subject. We've got a reality on Scientology. So we've got ARC in place, meaning we're in a successful communication right now. And what this book does is break that down into a lot of detail about how to handle if an ARC breaks. Say if you're discussing something and you have a reality on the situation, it's not a complete triangle. So I'm just holding this up so it's above the writing so people can see. Even though I should be able to anyway. But so how to handle basically reality breakdown, how to get back into reality. If affinity breaks down, how to raise that affinity level through communication and reality. So that book is just great on what Scientology communication is all about, which I like. I don't really take this one out. I do a couple of times, but it's just great to have people know what communication is inside Scientology. Then I go into this one, has travelled with me across the country many times. This one's been to Ireland with me, down to London. I don't do any process without my ethics book at all. If I need to see my phone battery's on, it's beeping at me. I've got mine. But yeah, I don't go anywhere without my ethics book, because this book is literally everything that Scientology. Let me just read what it says. Bear with 2 seconds. So yeah, it basically tells you what Scientology ethics is, how to do, like in Scientology you've got different stuff that you've got to do, like your grades, like gradient charts. What's it? So yeah, what ethics is, a history of ethics. 2 seconds, let me find the right page. I'm going to take this cover off. 2 seconds. All the different conditions within Scientology. So these go through like what the condition of treason is, what the condition formulas are. So for example, the condition of treason is bear me seconds. There we go. So if someone's in a condition of treason, the post or the position that they run at Scientology will fall through. So if you was going to find out who's treason, actually the condition formula is find out what you are. Oh, sorry, find out that you are. So basically finding out what you're doing that's so wrong against the church. Then it's like a condition of enemy. So what you've got to do is find out who you really are. Like what are your like automotives? Why are you in the church? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Condition of doubt, basically, why you're in doubt. Liability is always to like why you're liable for this. So it goes for all the different like condition formulas. That's what happens in the church if you do something wrong. You'll get applied a condition, so you get lower conditions, upper conditions. Right. Then it'll go through, this book's great on like what an SP is, what a disconnection is within inside the church, how like the sort of like what sort of acts will commit you to be an SP. So bear with me 2 seconds, let me find some examples. How to write a KR, which is a knowledge report. Basically, if someone commits an act inside Scientology which is out ethics against Scientology rules, against ethics, you have to write a KR report on them, which is basically writing up everything that they've done wrong, handing it to the ethics officer, someone who handles all discipline in Scientology, and getting them to correct what they've done wrong. So a KR report is basically telling on someone or like getting someone in trouble for a mistake they've caused.
It creates a snitching culture within Scientology. It can even happen between spouses, you know, friends,
sisters, friends. like children on parents, parents on children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what Scientology thrives on, basically. That comes into the whole aspects of control. If they didn't have the ethics conditions and people programmed so heavily on ethics, it would fall apart because they need people to be able to keep in line. So I am kind of just looking for some examples of what makes you an SP. So bear with me 2 seconds.
Sure.
Because I've got a whole long list of like 6 pages of why someone would become an SP. 2 seconds. SP, suppressive person, suppressive person. I should have got all these pages, to be honest, dog-eared before I did this, but oh well.
Being John Sweeney and yelling at Tommy Davis.
What was that?
I was just making a bad joke. I said being John Sweeney and yelling at Tommy Davis. That can make you an
Yeah, that's what Scientology does, though, to critics and SPs. They will push you, and what Tommy Davis was doing there is trying to find what John Sweeney's buttons were. And very quickly, Tommy Davis realized that calling John Sweeney a bigot was a big like button for him, because John Sweeney's looked into Scientology. He's read about it before doing it, so calling him a bigot is a massive button. And he did it. He's got him to snap. And that was David Miscavige's orders. David Miscavige was calling Tommy Davis counter-intentional sucker because he couldn't get basically John Sweeney to break. So he did it. He got him to break. Otherwise, he would have been put in a condition of treason. And no one wants David Miscavige is basically calling you a counter-intentional sucker. No one wants that.
Right.
They're David Miscavige's words as well. David Miscavige has a communicator that communicates to all members of the church and orgs exactly what David Miscavige says. It doesn't veer, it doesn't censor, it's literally exactly what David Miscavige is saying the communicator has to send. So we know for a fact they are David Miscavige's own words calling Tommy Davis that. So I'm not just being derogatory, I'm literally quoting David Miscavige's form then. And I'm trying to find an SP in this book. You'd think as someone who was an SP, I'd have an easy time finding this oppressive person, wouldn't I? There we go, oppressive persons. 171. Bear with me 2 seconds. Yeah, it's like this book contains a full process on how to disconnect from someone. And this is a new book. This was published in 2000 and again with the dates 2007. So this is the latest edition from New Era Publications even. So it's like it tells people how to disconnect, and they claim it doesn't exist. It's crazy. 2 seconds.
They're so transparent. They say it's not, but in their doctrine, if you just look at their doctrine, it says that it does. Like,
exactly.
How do you argue with your own doctrine? It's like saying, the Bible's saying Jesus is real, and then Christians walking around saying, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Exactly.
No, it doesn't.
That's what Scientologists like to outline in this book. They say disconnection is someone's own choice. So they say we don't force disconnection. They choose to disconnect. Is what I like to say when I pull out this book. And I'm like, hold on. You're telling me someone's going to choose to disconnect from their brother, sister, mother, daughter, father, son. Do you know what I mean? They're going to choose to disconnect from that. Like, no bullshit.
Yeah, no.
I get quite vulgar and passionate when talking about Scientology. That's from my time. You're with people all day swearing and just effing and jeffing inside the org. It comes out when I talk about Scientology quite often.
It's all good.
Oh, here we go. Suppressive acts. Suppression of Scientology and a Scientologist. So I'm just going to go through some suppressive acts that will get you declared an enemy of the church if you're inside Scientology or you're against Scientology. Use at your own discretion. Being an SP is very fun but very dangerous. I do not advise you doing this. Just make a disclaimer statement so they can't go up and like say Mathew Pritchard, like putting out basically hatred and more bigotry. Because they're going to use this video against me.
If you really want to be an SP, do what Tori Magoo said. Go print yourself off an SP certificate that, you know, on goldenrod, and you'll be an SP. You don't got to do nothing.
Yeah, it's not fun being an SP. Like, I've had my house raided by police, like, as we discussed, because Church of Scientology is putting a false threat saying I'm planning on attacking a religious organization. It's not fun being woke up at 6 in the morning with police banging on your door telling you to get on the ground where they search and ransack your place for guns and explosives. It's not a glamorous life being an SP. It's a fun title to have, but it's not fun in reality. Like, I can't go around Manchester without being followed at the moment. I haven't been able to for the last couple of years. It's not fun. But yeah, some suppressive acts. 2 seconds. So, suppressive acts include any felony, sexual or sexual pervaded conduct contrary to the well-being or good state of mind of a Scientologist, in good standing or under the charge of Scientology, such as a student or pre-clear. So what that's basically saying is you can't have sex in Scientology. You become an SP. Yeah. Yeah, straight up. That's number one.
I thought it was just adultery, like outside of marriage.
Yeah, no, just literally sexual or sexual pervertedness conduct contrary to the well-being or good state of mind of a Scientologist, in good standing or under the charge of Scientology, such as a student or pre-clear. Not much detail there, but I think they're referencing outside of marriage or, like, for example, homosexual relationships and stuff like that is what they're referencing. Like, because Scientology's got a history of being homophobic, which is bullshit. That's why I do a gay raid every June during Pride Month. I do a gay protest. I love it. Yeah, it really gets them going when I'm there, like, full on. Like, you should see some of the Anons when they did it. It was brilliant. So yeah, let's continue. Blackmail of Scientologist or Scientology organization, threatening or accomplished, in which case the crime being used for blackmail purposes, becoming fully outside the reach of ethics and is absolved by the fact of blackmail unless repeated. So basically, you can't blackmail them, but they can blackmail you all you want. You blackmail Scientology, you're done, but we're going to come and harass you and blackmail you into silence. That's fine. Double standards. But yeah, so don't blackmail Scientology. Using the trademark or service marks of Dianetics and Scientology without express permission or license from the owner of the mark or its unauthorized license. So in other words, me reading this book right now is a suppressive act. Because I'm using Scientology outside of the use of, like, its correct uses.
Oh my goodness. I am just suppressive as shit right now.
Oh yeah, trust me, you can understand now why I'm blacklisted. I do this quite a lot.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so this is one that applies to every single critic on the planet, okay, against Scientology. Testifying or giving data against Scientology falsely or in generalities or without personal knowledge of the matters to which one testifies. So in other words, talking about Scientology when you've never been a Scientologist and talking out against Scientology that you know nothing about. So every critic on this planet has done this.
Yes.
Every news reporter on this planet has done this. Yeah. Anyone who's ever mentioned Scientology has done this.
Oh,
so I have no idea how they're going to clear the planet because everyone's done that. We're doing that right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this thought just pops in my head when I was, like, young and walking. I was like maybe 22, walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and I see the personality test, and I'm just like one of those kind of people. I know Scientology, and it's that maybe about Tom Cruise, and I'm like, I'm gonna go take this personality test, and my mom was like, do not do that. She's like, that is a cult.
Your mum's just a passive person. She brought you up well.
I know. I was like, really? And so I went and got a tattoo. It turned out much better, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Personality tests are fun though. I love personality tests. It's good. Well,
Well,
to be honest,
I wanted to get one so bad at Denver, like we were going to, and he was going to audit us. And I was really
oh,
looking forward to that, honestly. Um, but we just didn't have enough time. I'm not going to say where I'm going next because they
yeah,
might
don't give it
know.
away. Yeah, they're gonna watch. I have put on Twitter basically links to this, inviting Scientology to watch it. I sent this to personal pages of Scientology websites, of social media, inviting them to watch this.
Okay, they can't see my face then.
This is going on my YouTube, which is being monitored by Scientology. This is going on my Twitter, which is monitored by Scientology. This is going to go on my Facebook, which is monitored by Scientology. Everything I post online has someone sat in an office somewhere watching it. I can guarantee it. Everything I post online has someone watching it. And the reason I know that is from when I was down in St. Hill processing at the IS event, which we'll get onto later. I went from the IS event to one of the orgs in London, so from St. Hill to London. Didn't post on social media that I was going to it. Didn't tell anyone I was going to it. As I was walking up the street to the org from the train station, 3 Scientologists walked out saying, "We know who you are. We know why you're coming in. You're not coming in." And I posted one thing saying, "I'm going to London." Just, I'm going to London.
I'd be like, okay, creepy. I'm
Yeah,
such a
I just
smart
said I'm going to London. How did they know I was going to that org? When did they know I was getting off the train? When did they know I was almost at the org? They must have been watching me from St. Hill all the way to London.
Probably.
They must have had someone at Blackfriars train station in London waiting for me to get off and turn around that corner. They must have done.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're watching this. They're going to be watching this at some point.
That's okay.
It's going to be fun.
Nope.
So yeah, this is something that also that squirrels tend to do. That squirreling is using Scientology doctrine outside of Scientology. So I don't mean to call them squirrels. I kind of mean the indie movement. So that's organizing splinter groups or to divide. Sorry, organizing splinter groups to diverge from Scientology practices, still calling it Scientology or calling it something else. So that's basically indie Scientologists. Let's find some more fun ones because some of these are quite mundane. It's just like, hoarding using copying, printing, or publishing confidential materials of Dianetics and Scientology without express permission or license from the author of the material or his authorized licenses. So in other words, me doing this right now is an out ethics move. I know it's backwards, but me basically holding this up, reading quotes from this, sharing it online, me scanning these that I now have online on the website for people to go and read in more high def like things. I will post them in the comments after this live stream. Most people can have a look at it. It's all SP. It's all suppressive acts. So yeah, and my question is like, how do you get permission from the author when he's been dead for God knows how many years?
For 32 years. I'm 31 and I think he died the year before I was born.
Oh, wow.
In 86, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think
and I
so.
was
I'm
born
not
in
too
80,
sure about his death
I
date.
was born in 87, so about 32 years.
Yeah, this is something I want to clear up as well while we're on the subject of Hubbard dying. A lot of people saying if like Scientology is real and believe in like reincarnation and like people coming back after they died, people are saying why is Hubbard not coming back yet? So what they're referencing there is when a Scientologist dies, a Sea Org member, they have a billion years. So when a Sea Org member dies, they get a 22-year break from Scientology. Then they come back alive. Now Hubbard wasn't a Sea Org member; he was the commanding officer. He was the CO. And what they believe is he's gone to Target 2 to fulfill the further research outside of his physical remains because there's holding back in his research. So he's not going to be coming back to the Earth. For anyone who's confused about that, thinking that Hubbard's eventually going to come back, he's not. He's gone to Target 2. Once Scientology has cleared the planet and this planet's done, they're all going to go to Target 2 to clear the next planet. That's the end game. So I just wanted to clear that up. So I hear a lot of people misinterpreting, basically like Sea Org members coming back alive for 1 billion years, and people wondering why Hubbard isn't alive at the moment, or why has he not come back yet. He's well overdue, is because he wasn't a Sea Org member. He didn't agree to come back to Earth. He's gone to Target 2 to continue getting upper OT levels or some shit.
It's and it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because there is a gentleman and that has claimed to be the L. Ron Hubbard Rising guy. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Very very interesting young man. But he was an indie, like before he even claimed to be L. Ron Hubbard, he was an indie for years and audited people around the country.
Yeah.
So it's really it's quite funny, and I don't think they would buy it anyways because of what you just said and the fact that he knows it's bullshit. So
yeah. He's just doing it because he thinks it's going to be funny to claim to see what the church reacts to, because Indians don't really like the church. So he's probably doing it just to see how the church reacts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's the interesting one. But yeah,
I think
will.
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. No, go ahead. What was you going to say? It's that my what I was going to say is off topic.
I think the best protest would be a bunch of like people just dressing up as L. Ron Hubbard, just going to protest the orgs. Like, I think that would be amazing. Just around the country, that would be like ultimate.
When I was in Ireland, I got 2 balloons, alien balloons, like very small ones, on my tassels for my hoodie, and I was like, "These are my BTs. Why won't my BTs clear running around? Like, why have I got BTs?"
That's awesome.
They didn't look happy about that. There was a lot of kids there in Ireland when we was over like protesting, wanting to know about it. So I was like, okay, so when you do get so far in Scientology, they believe you're covering all these dead alien life forms. They're like, these are the life forms. They're called BT, body phaetons. Now you've got to do high expensive courses in Scientology to get rid of these BTs and talk to them and find out why they're here and why they're on you and what are they, and asking questions like, have you seen Kathy Shankelbird's Squeeze My Hands show?
I haven't had the opportunity to see it, but I do know about it.
So she does an amazing bit, and I'm probably going to butcher this, so I do apologize. But she's on about her OT7, like where she's OT4 or 7, one of the two of them, where she's trying to order it off to BTs, and she's like, are you a chocolate cupcake? Are you are you Gandhi? You're trying to order them off, and it's like, yes, ding, gone. So I was doing this with the kids, and I was like, are you Julius Caesar? Are you a cupcake? Are you L. Ron Hubbard? And I'm like, yes, pop, gone. That's how you clear BTs.
That's awesome. Oh my God. Oh, I want to see that so bad. I've heard nothing but great things about that. And Squeeze My Cabaret is going on in Adelaide. If anybody sees this later and lives in Australia, definitely go check her out at the Adelaide Fringe Fest right now.
Yeah, she did a couple of years ago, the Edinburgh. That's when I had the chance to see her when she first did a tour in the UK, and it was amazing. Honestly, I would recommend 10 out of 10. Go and see her. Go and support the show. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing like show altogether. The cabaret is brilliant. She's got amazing dolls. I've seen her, and now I think she's got a David Miscavige one, hasn't she? Something daft like that. She's got a new doll recently, new puppet. So I know she had a Xenu one.
I've just seen the Xenu one.
I think she's got a new one anyway, but even with the Xenu one, the cabaret is amazing. It's so fun. She gets the audience involved. Can't stress it enough. Go and see it. And I'll probably find a link to it and put it down below after this as well. And I'll put it on the YouTube, like in the description. I keep on doing that just so when I'm watching it back, when I'm uploading it to YouTube, I can just like, okay, insert link here.
Oh man. Oh, that's awesome. So let's see. What would you say, and this is another sensitive question, what would you say to someone that says people who join Scientology are just ignorant?
Bullshit. Sorry, I know that's quite barefaced, but bullshit. People who join Scientology are not ignorant at all. It takes very smart people to join a cult, actually, as a scientific research study once said. Can't remember the researcher, we'll find out and we'll leak it yet again. But it turns out people with quite high intelligence join organizations like Scientology because they've got a sense of wanting to help and learn more about themselves and their surroundings and as a human being improve. So people who join Scientology aren't ignorant at all. You saying that makes you a bit ignorant. Sorry to say that, but
Oh
you've got
no,
to
I'm
think
not
people.
saying that. That's just the question
Oh no, I don't
because
mean
we
you. I'm
get
just
that a
saying to anyone
lot.
watching. I'm just saying with anyone watching with that belief, I believe they're a bit ignorant. They
Right.
may not like that, but it's the truth. People who join Scientology are wanting to improve themselves, the other people around them, the planet. They're wanting to help people. Like
Right.
Scientology has got nothing but books and books and books and media and just like presentations on how to improve yourself, how to improve your others. Like literally, they've got a course called "How to Improve Relationships with Others." For goodness' sake, they want you to do. They're advertising that this is a way you can help yourself and help others around you. We're leading forward. We've got. Bear with me a second. Where has it gone now? We've got humanitarian aid currently going on around the world. We've got all this great stuff going on. We've got campaigns, self-analysis. Do you really know yourself? Do you want to find out who you are? Looking at a new start in life, you're feeling a bit low, a bit depressed. Help yourself get out of that rut and find a new way of looking at life. Sorry, bear with me a second. I've got a lot of these. Are you struggling with work? Are you struggling to find a job? Are you not enjoying your job? Well, we've got a course for that. Problems with work, how to improve yourself in your work life. They're literally screaming to people with all these problems and wanting to better themselves that we can help you. We want to help you, and while you're doing that, you can get the tools to help the people around you. Why would you not want to help people? Why would you not want to help yourself? So, in short, no, I don't believe people are joining Scientology because they're ignorant. I believe they're joining Scientology because they want to do a world of good, just in the wrong
Right.
place.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that anybody and everybody has joined something in their life, whether it's another religion, it's a club, it's just anything. And
Heck, let's
you
just put it
can't,
this way: if sorry to cut you off, but if I didn't watch the Scientology documentaries that I watched, and if I went through a shit time in my life around that same time where I came across that documentary, if I didn't come past that and I just like walked down Deansgate and saw what it is, which I did a few times, which got me clicking onto what Scientology is, like looking at the window saying, "Oh, that looks good." If I didn't watch them documentaries, I'd be in the org right now doing courses because I believe it could have actually helped me. Do you know what I mean?
right,
That's real life. I was interested in it before I started. Well, I'm still interested in it now. I want to know as much as I can do about it. But I
right.
would have ended up joining it if it wasn't for them documentaries because they claim so much well-being can be done. But go on, what was you going to say? Sorry.
But I was just saying that, I mean, I don't believe that anybody is ignorant for joining because everybody joins something. And
Exactly.
it's, it's something in their life, whether it's a club, whether it's a religion, even these Jehovah's Witnesses, either were born into it or, joined in as adults or, young adults.
Exactly.
And they think they're doing the best for themselves and the world around them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's actually one of my biggest pet peeves on I Support Leah Remini. When I see that question or when I see that statement that they're stupid, they're ignorant, when they're not, they're just people like us. Um, a lot of things like one channel I watch on Instagram is the Scientology London channel. And to me, but you can see that they're really passionate about what they're doing and they really believe in it.
It's like, have you ever took a minute to watch Scientology TV? Like the whole like thing that I've got going on now, like their whole TV channel and stuff, or like on the online app, the
Speaking
Scientology
of
network.
John
Hey,
McGee,
John McGee, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, have you ever took a minute to like sit down and watch like the Scientology network, see what they've got on there?
I've
Um,
watched a little of it, but man, I can't do it.
I've not watched. I struggled once to sit there and watch it, but on there it's literally streaming to people around the world. Like, come to us, we can help your answers. Now it's all bullshit. We all know that, but people are joining
Right.
Scientology because they're put with this false sense of promise that yeah, we can help you. You've got depression, we can help that. You're having marriage issues, we can help that. You're having money problems, we can help that. We'll make it worse, but we can help it. Are you having problems with your work? We can help that. Are you having problems with your family? Yeah, we can help that. Literally, you throw out a situation where you're struggling, and Scientology will raise up their hand saying, "We've got the answer." Because they claim to do, and that's what people are looking for. People are looking for the easy answer sometimes, and it's not always going to be the easiest path to make. Go into a help group. Scientology pulls yourself out there as a self-help group. Now, to some people, that's a massive step to make, and it's the first step.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They're taking that massive leap to actually get help. So it's people not being weak or ignorant. It's people wanting that help or support in their life, or wanting to help other people, depending on which way you're going into it from. So it's like you said, same with the Jehovah's Witnesses. People have got their vices. Some people look to God. Some people look to their friends and families. Some people look for organizations that are out there. Do you know what I mean? About something they're passionate about, like a bowls club or like darts club or a golf club. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got their ways and habits of coping with life.
Right.
And other people turn to Scientology.
Right. It's all something to heal. I mean, we've all been through some kind of trauma, abuse, bullying, had hard times in life, and we crave. It's human nature to crave something more in life, and that's where it comes in. I mean, whether you're young or old, and it's really wild that something like this exists. But I mean, you could say the same thing about when Jim Jones was starting his cult, and David Koresh, and how do we stop this systematic abuse from continuing to happen over and over and over again? We can allow these religions or these groups, because every religion to me is a mini cult.
Yeah, every religion's got some form of repressive aspect to it.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But not in every situation. But it goes too far, and the power and the greed, that is too far, and especially in Scientology, treating children like adult, that kind of abuse. It's I think that's what draws people in from the outside. It definitely drew me in from the outside, and with a connection that I have to, the abuse that I suffered, to the abuse that, I could never compare my abuse or my life to what a Scientologist has ever, experienced. But I think if we as a human race could understand each other in that way, I think these cults wouldn't get away with it as much as they do.
Definitely not. It's like talking about that. You've seen, I imagine you know what a televangelist is, and you've seen televangelists before, like on the TV, like you playing your CD, don't you?
I grew up in a televangelist church.
That's literally financial abuse, for example. That's financial abuse there and then. You donate this much, and we'll have God do this for you, which is never going to happen. I hate to say it, but do you know what I mean? It's financial abuse there. You've got it everywhere.
It is. It's everywhere. It's not just Scientology. It's not just the, I can't really speak much on Jehovah's Witness on how much money. I know they probably have, and if any Jehovah's Witness sees this later and this is incorrect, I think they have to pay for their carts, which are, lots of money. But like, I don't know if this is over in the UK or not, but there's literally this man on TV that will sell a cloth and water.
Like he's not on TV, but I've seen him before. Doesn't he have like his own private jet, his own mansion, and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, there's multiple guys like that. Yeah. And I mean, there was this preacher just not too long ago. He said that Jesus wouldn't ride in something, so his followers needed to. Yeah. Janet might even be able to tell you.
Get a private jet or something along those lines.
Yeah. It blew me away. I was like, why are we allowing this kind of abuse to happen under just because they have a 501c3, why are we allowing this abuse to happen to these members that have literally nothing? These people who are these elderly people, you know, I'm not trying to stigmatize elderly people.
Yeah, it's like
Huh?
elderly people who are suffering with like debilitating illnesses who are basically being told, you don't
Yeah.
need this much money, we can get God to cure this. Or if you're worried about your son who's doing this, we give us money, we can help your son out. God will help your son. It's like I follow a YouTuber called Jacqueline Glenn. She's an ex-Christian now turned atheist. She does YouTube videos about stuff like this quite a lot, about the abuse within the Catholic Church, the hypocrisies, and she did a full like a good 30 to 40 minute video on televangelists. That's how I know about them, because we don't have them here in the UK. It's not a massive thing. Like, we're a Christian country, but I don't know anyone who goes to church. I don't think anyone knows anyone who actually goes to church, apart from a few elderly people on a Sunday. Like, it's really not that much of a Christian. It's not like I can't name a single person in my whole entire life who I've ever met who's gone to church voluntarily.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, it is a belief system, Janet, and I do agree with that. And I do believe that people have the right to believe what they want to believe. And I'll say this, and I don't say this much because I don't believe it's my job or my right to tell anybody how to believe, but I am a Christian. But growing up in such a staunch Christian background, um, I'm watching people that I love get kicked out of a church that said that they loved, you know, them and that God made them in their image until their image wasn't right. You know, kind of shaped me in a different way. And people should have the right to believe what they want to believe. But what a 501c3, what me and you have talked about before, we need to get into the government and show them it needs to be a balance. Religion should not have more power than the justice system. Come in and say, this is wrong. You are abusing your members just as much as, like, say, a senior member of the community had a caretaker, and the caretaker had rights over this senior member, and the APS or Adult Protective Services could jump in and take over the senior member if this caretaker is abusing them. It's the same concept. Why can't the government jump in, and they should be able to, and say this is not right to any religion, no matter what? A 501c3 should only be granted to, in my opinion, if they are truly charitable.
Can
Proselyte.
you just do something?
Go ahead.
For us in the UK, can you just clarify what a 501c is? I'm not too sure. Is that a tax
It's a
thing
tax.
state?
It's a tax exemption. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what churches hide behind. I mean, honestly, there is a church here, and I might even be like not all the way correct about this. And I only found out about it because when I got married, the lady that signed our marriage certificate, she is part of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
I'm a pastafarian.
Do you know about that?
Of course I know about that. Who doesn't know what a pastafarian is? The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. If you can believe in an almighty God, I can believe in an invisible spaghetti monster who blesses me with his noodly appendages.
I thought that was like so amazing. In Oklahoma, they put up the commandments up at the Capitol, which is not legal.
No, it's definitely the church and state. That's definitely not legal.
Yeah, so like the Church of Satan, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, they all wanted to put their stuff up there too, and they were trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
You know, why can't we put our stuff up there too if you're going to put the, you know, but there's no watchdog committee for religions. There needs to be, Janet, though, and I, you know, when I talked with you the other day, Janet, and I don't mean to take time away from you, definitely not, Matt, because this is about you.
No, it's about you as well. I like this, to be honest. It's an open forum at the end of the day, so go ahead, like, definitely. Like, I'm not going to stop you.
Thank you. We need, and I don't know much about UK law. Somebody asked me about Brexit the other day, like breakfast. I don't really know.
Here in the UK, we don't know what Brexit is at the moment, so don't even ask us. We're in the UK, and half the people out there doesn't even know what Brexit is. You just have one side shouting Brexit is Brexit, and the other side shouting no to Brexit, but no one really knows what Brexit is. We've got until the 28th of May to get a deal, and we have no deal yet. We've got until 28th of May to get a deal into the EU Parliament, and we don't have a deal yet. So no one knows what Brexit is, because the government can't put a deal in because they can't decide amongst themselves what that deal should be. And every time that deal gets put forward to the EU Parliament, so one person in the party turns around saying, hold on, no, I don't like that, so they have to redo it all over again.
Right.
So the
And they
government
do
doesn't
sign,
even know what Brexit is.
right. I don't think anybody knows what's really going on in any of the world. But anyways, we won't start on politics. They do sign volunteer contracts, Janet too, and that's all fine and gravy because in every church or sect there are volunteer contracts. The church that I went to, in different, like in praise and worship and welcoming committees and just in the home groups, but the abuse, it's the abuse that they're suffering. Why are people, allowed to just go missing? Why is stuff like Kyle Brennan happening? Why is Kim Poff being fired? Why are 4 deaths happening at Narconon Arrowhead? Is Narconon even allowed to exist under a halfway house licensure? And still offer drug rehabilitation services when they have no clinical staff on site. People coming off of heroin, meth, that's not even right.
No, it's worrying. It's like the narco side of it, I'm not gonna lie, I've never really looked into it too much. Like I know I should have done, but it wasn't until the whole island side of it that I've really had much to touch on with that. Because it's just not something. It's not very. Like I know I should have like really looked into the narco and the criminal side of it. It's just there's
It's okay,
really
I'm
like
sorry.
I know. I don't know. It's fine. It's like there's information out there, but there's not very much information. All you can do is relay the same stuff. Like it's not real medicine. It's not practiced by licensed practitioners. They go off the cold turkey side of it. They're overdosing people on vitamins and doing the purif, which is highly dangerous because it can cause dehydration and death, as we've seen in the other Narconon facilities. But that's the only information we really have about Narconon, apart from like ex-staff who were speaking out. But all we really know is just a massive recruitment for Scientology. It's getting people off drugs, if they can get them off drugs, and then recruiting them for Scientology.
Right.
That's all we really know is because these facilities is something that not many people go to, if that makes sense, apart from people who are already in the church who have a problem with drugs, they go to it, or people who are seeking outside help. So all we really get is from family members who have sent people there, and from ex-staff members who. That is very, very shady what goes on inside of a Narconon facility. Now, I'm not saying I should I shouldn't look into it more. I'm not being ignorant in that sense. It's just hard to find solid information on what Narconon consists of. If that makes sense. Well, it is for myself personally. I know I probably could do a bit more digging and find some, but it's just one of them ones.
Well, you are very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff, so I wouldn't. It's the only reason that I really know a lot about, because the first thing I did after and this sounds so, because I sound like such a typical fangirl when I first started this whole thing, because I found about Scientology, besides what my mom had, the whole Hollywood visit, from Leah.
Yeah.
And then I started really digging into it, and I was like, well, do we have a Scientology org in Oklahoma? Because we're like right in the middle of the Bible Belt, which I know you probably aren't familiar with that term, but like there's a whole group of states that like are very Christian.
Yeah, no, I've heard about Bible Belt. Yeah. Just that.
And I just it really, really shocked me even to find out that there was a Narconon here and that it was allowed to exist.
I see. I knew about Arrowhead. I didn't realize it was actually in Oklahoma, though. So that's surprising until you mentioned it earlier. But yeah, go on.
Keith joined us, and Janet rejoined us too, and they're both commenting.
Oh yeah, I have it here on my screen. I've got you projected onto my TV at the moment, so that's why you're stood up over there. And I'm actually looking at my TV most of the time instead of at you, because I've got it here so I can see the comments quite big in front of me instead of having to squint at my phone. But yeah, hi Keith, hi Janet.
The next Jehovah's Witness. He used to be a moderator here on ISLRJW. He's a great guy. And we're glad to have him here.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is true too about the Catholic Church. I mean, it is a problem not just with Scientology. It is a systemic problem within religion and state. Like there is no separation. It is here's religion and here's state. Religion is literally taking over state. The justice system cannot do their job. That is why, in my opinion, that is why Danny Masterson is still free. That is why there are no true charges, filed. That's why Scientology still exists. That's why 501c3 hasn't been reformed yet, because religion has such a hold on the state. Like,
I want
because
to
our
touch
country.
on. Well, sorry,
Right.
while he's on the subject of the 501c and Scientology, I believe the whole reason they've not revoked the tax-free status of Scientology yet is because when Scientology was fighting to get their tax-exempt status, they flooded the whole IRS's budget for the year back in the 1980s within 1 month. They managed to cause the IRS to spend their whole year's budget within 1 month. The IRS cannot cope with how big America's got over the last few years and how many businesses are popping up. To have their whole budget spent again by the Church of Scientology, it's easier to let sleeping dogs lie, than have that whole shitstorm again. Because last time they did it and they wasn't giving it in, they had the IRS, the FBI, the CIA infiltrated. IRS members followed home, tracked lawsuits against them. The whole budget was blown. I can't stress this enough, but IRS's budget, whole yearly budget of God knows how many millions, if not billions of pounds, or dollars, was blown in a month. A month.
I don't, it doesn't surprise me. Because they did the same thing in Oklahoma, and that's why I believe that's why Kim Poff lost her job, because Scientology fought the state of Oklahoma so much that they couldn't do it anymore. We don't have the budget. We don't have the budget to pay our teachers. Our teachers here make $26,000 a year. US dollars.
Supplies and stuff as well, and stuff like that at the moment. Some teachers.
And we can't afford to pay our state literally, and I know the whole world really, but is bankrupt. And we can't afford to fight Scientology, no matter how big or small they are. We can barely pay our teachers or anybody else.
Oh, just answering Janet there, who do you think orchestrated that Black Ops operation against the IRS? So, from what I believe, I don't know if this fact's now, correct me if this is wrong, Janet, but the whole Black Ops operation was done by the Office of Special Affairs, which is now OSA, which at the time consisted of Mary Sue Hubbard, one of Hubbard's wife, a whole team of high-ranking Scientologist officials and Hubbard's guidance. Then when it got exposed and the whole Black Ops operation came out, Hubbard went into hiding and threw his wife under the bus. Now, correct me if I'm wrong with that, Janet. Oh, that's Matty Rathburn. Oh shit, Matty Rathburn was involved in that. Fucking hell. Sorry about my language. But Jesus. I
was like, oh shit, where is he? I didn't know what you were looking at.
Yeah, I'm reading comments. Sorry, Matty Rathburn. Jesus Christ. Fucking, that doesn't surprise me though. He was the Chief Inspector General or whatever he was. It really doesn't surprise me that though. But yeah. But yeah, on the topic of like the whole tax status, I don't reckon Scientology is ever going to lose their tax exempt status. I don't reckon they ever will, because it's just going to cost the IRS and the US government too much money to take it away.
I don't think so. Not until I kind of I want to be optimistic and say they will, but honestly, I think until the whole system is reformed, to make all religions prove that they're truly charitable and not just I can never say this word correctly, proselytizing. You know what I'm trying to say. Because I don't believe that is being charitable. Like going out and preaching is not being charitable. Actually giving to your community and truly doing stuff for your community is being charitable.
This is
Until
why Scientology. Sorry, go on. No, go on.
sorry.
No, go on. What was
And
you going to say? Sorry.
there should be other stipulations too. I think the whole system for every religion, for every charity needs to be totally revamped. In our country, I don't know about your country because I've heard that in some different countries you actually have to prove that you are charitable. Here it's just like you pay $2,000, you're good.
Oh yeah, in the UK, the Church of Scientology has non-religious status or charitable status. They cannot meet the guidelines in the UK to be classed as a charitable or religious organisation here in the UK. They are neither. They are a for-profit organisation in the UK. They register as a for-profit organisation because they've tried many times to file for charitable status, but the acts of people paying to go to their facilities like Narcanon, Criminon, Applied Scholastics, and like the outreach programs of recruiting for their organization doesn't meet what is charitable. To be honest, Janet, I've been wanting to know that a while. I don't watch I watch the show, but I don't watch it like fully because most of the stuff I talk about is stuff I have in-depth knowledge on anyway. I watch the show and they'll have the intro credits about what they're going to be talking about, and at the start of it, I've done it with my partner sat here, and then like they'll start talking, and I can already list what they're going to be talking about, and boom, 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 it comes in like segments. It's an interesting show. It's just when I'm sat here with the knowledge, it's just not very fun to watch, if that makes sense. It's cool who they're talking to, and I like the new layout with the people they're talking to. That's interesting to get inside stories. But it annoys me because, Janet, you're absolutely right. If Mark Rinder has this information, Mark Rinder knows where the bodies are, Janet. Let's not deny this. Mike Rinder knows where the bodies are of people who have died inside Scientology and where people are currently. And he's not doing anything about it. He's doing fuck all. He's sat in his ass, sorry. Hate saying that because Mike Rinder, I've got a massive respect for what he's doing on the show, but at the same time, he could be there telling people, yeah, this is what they did. This is how they did it. This is how they did it. This is what's going on now. This is what they're planning on doing. This is where X, Y, and Z is. Do you know what I mean? Like, they could have easily done that within like a few episodes, a massive segment on like the whole IRS scandal. They've not touched it. They've touched where Shelley is, they've touched about the abuses and the members' like stories, but they've not touched on basically like Hubbard's life, the IRS scandals, the Blackhawks. They've touched on fair game briefly, but they've not gone into any massive details about how horrific it really is. Like it's yet again a double-edged sword. Like, they're getting public awareness out there. It's a great thing they're doing. They're just not doing it, I believe, in the right ways. It's like, oh, they're talking about exposing the Church of Scientology and wanting to get out. Why are they not talking to critics and protesters? Why are they not outside of orgs with protesters? Why are they not going into orgs asking questions or trying to get inside of orgs? You know what I mean? Why are they not confronting Scientologists? They could do it in a respectful way, because I do it. Why are they not confronting Scientologists in the streets in a respectful way, asking them questions? Why are they not outside requesting to get in and get access? Instead of Scientologist comes out then asking them questions. Why are they not doing this? They could get so much more info and support if they actually took to the streets with protesters, I believe, anyway.
I kind of have a thought about this, and I try to look at it on both sides. And I have good friends who have been very hurt by Mike Rinder, and I'm sure you do too. I'm sure Janet does too. And I see what Leah's doing and Leah and Mike are doing. And I think what I was mentioning earlier is like me. When I first started learning about Scientology, I had absolutely no knowledge about any of this. So being exposed to as much as like we're exposing even right now would have completely overwhelmed me. Like I wouldn't even known what to even do with this. So like basically what I think of the show as like
A beginning.
like a baby, like you're feeding a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, it's
Like
very small doses of spoon-fed knowledge so you can get a gist of it. Like,
right.
it's very basic introductory knowledge about Scientology. So they should retain viewer attention and not overwhelm the viewers, because last thing they want to do is make the viewer sound, it's sales tactic. They don't want to make the viewer sound stupid for not knowing in-depth knowledge about something that's happening. They do it very, very gradually with smaller doses to keep the viewer interested and wanting to know more. It's
Right.
I can't follow what they're doing. What they're doing is great. But Karen, sorry.
Right.
But go
But
on.
people like Kyle Brennan, I absolutely believe
Oh,
his story. If there are any more seasons, his story with Victoria Britain needs to be told on a huge
yeah.
scale, whether Leah tells it or somebody else tells it. It needs to be told because that is, I mean, it involves the freaking twins, the David Miscavige's twin. Where's
Yeah.
Tom Brennan?
Yeah.
Why are they lying in court under oath? I mean, Janet, I know you have first-hand knowledge of that. Like, why did that even happen?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this not being exposed on a higher level? I know it's being, shared in different conferences and stuff like that, but why? That is like a huge scandal right there. Huge.
Oh yeah, my heart always goes out to Victoria Brittain. Like, she's a lovely woman. She's gone through so much. They need just to get her on the show, to be honest, so she can go in detail about the story. Because there's a lot of information out there about the story, but Victoria Brittain can go into it in so much detail. They just need to get her on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not doing it yet. They really need to.
Yeah. And two other people that are, I mean, they have like traumatic, like I only know bits of their stories, and they're incredible people, Valeska and Melissa Paris, which I know Mike Rinder has personal accounts with both. Why are they not on the show? Like
Mm-hmm.
they really could knock the socks off them. Why aren't it doesn't make any sense to me. But then I try to go back and would people even understand?
That's the thing. It's heartbreaking to say, but they wouldn't if they just dived into it all head on. It, like, for me to get to the point where I am now with my knowledge of Scientology, it's took me about, what we are now, 19, it's in 2012. It's took me 7 years to get to the point of where I am now of reading, researching, knowing about Scientology to be able to sit here and comfortably talk about it, in-depth knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I find it hard to talk to the public on the street about Scientology because it's hard to get someone introduced into what Scientology is without overwhelming them because there's so much information to go over when it comes to Scientology.
Right.
It's a tricky one. Like, I would love to sit down, and I need to start doing a podcast or something on YouTube where I can sit down and break it all down piece by piece and go into all this information because it needs to be brought down in a, like, Leah Remini is doing a great way. I'd love to do her style just in a podcast. So starting very, very basic, but go into the in-depth of Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I really
so much.
go ahead.
No, I was going
I
to say,
really think you should do that. Sorry, it keeps breaking up, and I think you're done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
I really think you should do that book club though, because I think that would be an amazing way to help people understand what Scientology is and how, just different aspects about it.
Yeah.
What Hubbard was thinking when it was, it was being written, and how Scientologists apply it today.
Yeah. Because going back to, like, when we was talking about earlier on, sorry to leap back, when you was talking about the church going after the state of Oklahoma, I think you was mentioning, and basically getting all the lawsuits dropped and stuff by the state because of how much it was costing them. Hubbard wrote a policy called "Get them in court, keep them in court, bankrupt them. A bankrupt person can't fight a case."
Mm-hmm.
So that's an actual policy of Scientology. If someone's going after you, you get them in court. You get them to take you to court. You bankrupt them. They can't fight a case, bankrupt.
Yeah.
And then you win.
I believe it.
That's literally a policy of Hubbard's. That's why there's a rule when it comes to critics. If you never take Scientology to court, you get them to take you to court. Because if they take you to court, they've got to pay all the fees. They can't bankrupt you. If you take Scientology to court, they're going to bury you 6 foot under in debt. To the point where you drop the suits because you just can't afford to do it. And that's what sadly started happening to Leah, Victoria Britton, when she started speaking out. They tried getting to sign an affidavit of £1 million to not talk about the son. She rejected it, and it just got too much. So she just posts online, talks about it with at conferences and stuff like that. She doesn't pursue it legally because it would cripple her financially. And it's sad to say that because it needs justice. It would just cripple her financially to take the Church of Scientology to court about this. It's a catch-22 with them. Like, there's so much that needs to be done. It's just the church has got infinite money. Like, the whole Ideologue program and the community center program is so they can prove they're a charitable organization in the States by giving all these outreach programs. But it's also so they can stockpile money. So if they do have a big case coming up, say against the IRS, if they remove the tax status, David Miscavige can go, boom, sell all these buildings, we're going to court. And what have they got there? They've got about 2, 3, if not $1 billion, $2 billion. So I was going to say about 30, 40 million, if not a few billion dollars just sat there ready to go for a court case. All you have to do is liquidate all the assets in a building. Because that's why if you ever look at a Scientology ideologue or a building, they're always beautiful, pristine buildings. They're lovely buildings. They've always been old buildings that have been run down cheap, and they've done them up. So they can flip them if they need to for 3, 4 times the money they bought it for. Because they're beautiful restored building. It's literally stockpiling money so they can keep it there in case of a rainy day if they need it. Because they can't stockpile money in cash because they'll lose the tax stamp status, so they keep it in property so they can flip it.
Yep.
Sad story, but if Scientology got a big case about the government tried taking them to court, boom, they would cripple the US government within a few days. They would have every Scientologist sending emails, letters, reports, stalking the government officials, stalking newspapers, reporters, selling buildings. Trust me, I reckon the Church of Scientology, if they wanted to, could cripple the US government easily. Financially. Very easily.
Yeah, I believe. Let's see here.
It's scary.
Was there ever a point in time that you thought about abandoning the cause? Why and what made you change your mind?
I wouldn't say ever abandon the cause. This has got too far now where I can't abandon it. This is going to be something that's looming over my shoulder everywhere I go. Like, that's the sad reality of the situation I've been in. That's why I tell people it's not fun to be an enemy of the church, because once you get into it, you're in it for the rest of your life. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be followed, harassed, reported on. I'm going to get this now for the rest of my life, regardless if I stop tomorrow or in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. I won't be able to go past any org without someone coming out. I won't be able to go into any orgs again. I will literally at this point now be a target of the Church of Scientology at any moment, at any time possible. It's happened. I took a few months away. I went to one protest after 6 months break. I get police knocking at my door claiming I've got bomb threat. I've said a bomb threat and weapon attacking a religious organisation. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's no way of stopping me. And that was a point where I was like, I need to stop this. But then it came to me, it's like, what's going to change if I do stop this? Like, stop doing this. I'm just going to go around being a relic of someone who knows about Scientology and not making a difference. What's the point in that? Like, you get into this fight and you've got to know from the moment you start online or in person that you are in this fight for the long haul. This is not a fight against an organization that's just going to forget about you. They've got a file on me for the rest of my life. They've got a file on everyone I love for the rest of my life and everyone I've been in contact with. Sad reality of it is, no matter what I do, they're still going to have a file on me and my family and my address and my... Do you know what I mean? Like, I can stop tomorrow and at any moment they could do something.
Yeah.
Not saying they will do anything, but who knows? So what's the point of stopping them?
They could.
They could. They could easily at any moment take me to court for viable, I don't know, bigotry, spreading hatred. They could do it at any moment if they want. They could do it tomorrow. They could do it in 10 years. Who knows? But they could do it if they wanted to. They've got enough evidence for it. They had an investigation against bomb threats and weapon threats against them.
Yeah. I'll pick
Yeah,
your
Janet,
battles.
I know that I'm young. I've got my whole life ahead of me, and I've picked my battles wisely. That's something I've been told the whole time. But like I said, you know it's better than all, Janet. Like you as an ex-member, now you're an ex-member. I don't imagine you. I don't know if you speak out. I imagine you do. But you know from being in, like this is something that no matter what I do now won't go away. So I enjoy it as well though. Like I love seeing whenever I walk down the street past an org Scientology cringe. Yeah, no, trust me, like this is a fight that I know could be won though, with enough public opinion. It's one of them things like it could be won, it couldn't be won. But as long as Scientology's around, I've got a cause to go for. And I drive.
To
Like
me,
I don't just
I
sorry, what you
think
say.
winning though is a matter of opinion. I think winning can be changing, somebody's future from joining the cult, educating somebody about Scientology, about the Jehovah's Witnesses, so they don't. Exactly what you're doing, Janet, and what you're doing, Matthew.
Yeah,
People aware of what's going on, so they don't have that future that Janet had, that Melissa Paris had, that Valeska had, that Fox had, that all these people, Tori Magoo, that all these people have experienced. So not one more person has to experience that.
yeah, yeah. I think the
I think
biggest
that's even if they never lose their tax exemption.
no, this win. I think the biggest win I've ever had is being outside of the church at the right time. I wasn't protesting, I was shopping. And I was walking past the church and I saw this family of five about to walk into the org. Generally, two kids, three kids, a mum and a dad. Like these are young kids as well, about to go in. And I was like, if you don't mind me asking, none of my business, but have you been into this organisation before? They was like, yeah, to register for a course. We're about to go and do a family auditing group session. And I'm like, okay. Do you know anything about this organisation? Just like they told me that they're a help group, they can help us with this, we're having money problems and relationship issues. I was like, okay. Gave him my leaflets that I carry on me everywhere. Like, I don't leave the house if I'm going into Manchester without these leaflets on me. These leaflets are in my bag whenever I go into Manchester about what Scientology is. I gave him the leaflet. I talked to him about Scientology, about the abuses. It's got the links on there. I went on my phone and I went on links like Zuni.net, Scientology Lies, ex-Scientology Kids, and I showed him articles like Lisa McPherson. And literally they turned around to me, like, father, the elderly man of the family, shook my hand saying thank you and walked away, didn't go in.
Good.
I stopped a family of five from going inside of that cult. And that to me is why I like to stand out there when I'm shopping.
Yeah.
Even when I'm shopping, even if I'm on the other side of Manchester, I'm out in Manchester, I will walk across Manchester just to walk past that church a couple of times and get a coffee across the road just to make sure. Because of that family of five is an example that I like to use. Like I stopped five people from going into that church for the rest of their life.
That's amazing. See, and that's what's worth it. That's one of the wins. Even if they never get their exemption taken away, even if there's like 100 people left in Scientology for the rest of humanity, if you stop a few people from going in, that's a few people's lives that weren't ruined.
It's not just
And
them few people though either. It's them few people tell their friends tell their
yeah,
friends, their friends tell their
yes.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it spreads. And it's like that's more public opinion. Public opinion. So it's not just five people. It could be 10 to 15 people. Because for all you
Mm-hmm.
know, they could have been recommended by a friend to go and have a look at it. Who's never been
Yep.
in just to find it saying, oh, this could help you with your problems. They can go back to that friend saying, no, don't go in there. Look at all this stuff that I've just been shown. And that friend goes to
Right.
the other friend saying, look at all this stuff. And it spreads like a wildfire. And that whole group of people have information then to tell other people who think about going in. It's a constant loop.
Yep.
But that's also how Scientology works, though, sadly. Scientology gets one person in. That person tells their family and friends about how great it is. They tell our family and friends. It works both ways, which is sad, because all it takes is one person to walk in, and that's the whole family in that church.
Yep. Yep. That's so right. Good for you. A great
It's a
feeling,
really
isn't
sad
it?
one. Oh, it is an amazing feeling, Janet. Like being able to turn around to someone and say, "Yeah, I stopped the family from walking in that building." It's an amazing feeling, but at the same time, I'm just thinking of like, while I'm not there, how many other people are walking in? Like, I was out protesting once, and there was a young guy, about 23, 24, about my age, outside washing the windows for the church, using his paper and vinegar like Hubbard said to use. Um, And I was
I
like,
think I,
if you don't mind me, pardon?
I think I remember. Didn't you film that?
Yeah, he was washing his windows with his newspaper and stuff like that. And I was buzzing because he originally came up with a squirty bottle, and I was like, "What are you using?" He's like, "Oh, I've got proper stuff." And I'm like, "Hold on, aren't you meant to be using newspaper and vinegar?" So we went and got newspaper and vinegar to prove a point. And I was like, "How long have you been in there for?" And he was like, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But I turned around to him, and have you ever looked online about all the information about this organisation? Just dead politely, dead chatted with him, saying, sorry if I cross the line, I do want you to know you could potentially get in trouble for talking to me. Are you okay with talking to me? He's like, at the end of the day, I've only been here for 2 weeks, I'm volunteering at the moment, go for it. And I was like, do you know about this organisation? He's like, no, that's what they've told me. Have you looked online about it? No. Are you willing to look online to it? He's like, at the end of the day, not really, because I've got the information I need. Yeah, always got it in policy that you've got to use paper and vinegar as well. But he's like, no. And I was like, can I give you one of the flyers? He's like, I was like, mate, just put my business card in your pocket. Do you know these little cards that I've got at protests and stuff like that? Because it's got my Twitter on there. It's like, put one of these in your pocket. Don't say anything about it. When you get home, just go on Twitter or something. And he was like, I don't know. I'm just at least take one for my mind. Took one. As soon as he went inside the building, a woman came, dragged him to the back. And you can tell what's going on. He's been basically, I'm being dead agent while she's talking to him at the back. Dead agent is a process of Scientology about basically telling loads of lies and misinformation about myself to stop me from believing what I'm saying. And I see him pull out the business card, and she literally gets it and rips it. And I'm like, and then he doesn't come out again. A woman comes out, gets the ladders he was using, takes it inside and locks the door. And I'm like, shit. You know he's been sent to the back for an ethics rundown.
Yeah. Man, there's a video out there. I don't know if you've seen it, of a elderly lady. I think she was in the Sea Org. I think it was down in Florida. I could be incorrect. And she's probably in her 70s or 80s, scrubbing the floor or the brick.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody goes over to put an aftermath card in her bucket, and somebody comes out of nowhere and takes it out and rips it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, wild.
Crazy. It's like, I think a funny story I've had while I've been at Analog before, I don't know if I put this on Twitter, I think I did. It was, every time I go to the Yorks, they've got a back door in Manchester. I go around the front, video in the front, video me there. I go around the back, see if anyone's around the back. And the funniest thing ever is I'm walking around the background with my phone, and I bet there's no one around here, I'm just chatting to like Twitter as nobody through Periscope. And there's a woman there at the door. Like, I didn't see her at first. The door was just open. I was like, oh, look, the door's open. What was it? This woman in all black beelines from nowhere and shuts that door. And I'm just like, did she come from? I'm just like, literally, I'm there with my camera and she's nowhere. She must have been at the back or something like that. And literally, I get just about this far from the door and she beelines for this door and slams it shut. And then I look at her, smile, and then she turns around. Then I walk around to see her and then she turns around again. Then I do it again, then she walks off.
Oh, wow.
Won't even look at me. Literally, I look at her, smile, she just frowns at me and then turns around dead quickly. Literally, as quick as she can. And I was like, what? Then went back and like went and said hi, and she did it again. And I was like, Jesus Christ, they fear me that much here. Am I that much of a bad person?
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I love Scientology so much, you know. They're some of the most, they're like gazelle. So when they're on their own, they're all happy as Larry doing stuff. But when they see Fred, they just freeze, look, then dart. They're like gazelle.
I love that. That's an amazing analogy. That's awesome.
They're like gazelle. They're all there just doing their own thing, and all of a sudden they see an SP, they're just like, whoop.
That's great.
I mean, that's the best analogy I've ever used. I'm going to use that one in future. That was just off the top of my head. I'm using that in future. That's a good one. That.
Perfect.
Really, I love Scientology so much. Like, it hurts me that they won't talk to me sometimes. Literally, I'll be outside the org trying to talk to them, waving to them to turn and just like that. And I'm like, come on, just talk to me. I've been out here for 5 hours. Just talk to me at this point. I think we're past that level of not knowing each other.
Right.
Like, I've been out
so
here
funny.
protesting. Like, I've been out here protesting every other weekend now for the last 4 years. I think we're at that point in our friendship where you don't have to just glare at me through the glass. I think we've reached that point.
When you attack or criticize someone, what's their intuitive reaction?
What do you mean by that, Janet? Are you on about in general? Because I don't like to like attack or criticize Scientologists. I'm quite just general with them. I talk in generalities, which is a sign of an SP. I'm just dead open with them and just like to chat about the day-to-day life. It's just like Gazelle. The minute I get near them, they're just like, he's talking to me.
You're killing me with this Gazelle stuff. The medic one feels
I'm
the need
going
to
to
fight.
Gazelle stuff. It's happening. I'm going to start an SP comedy show, and that's going to be my opening act.
Yeah, you should totally. She said, automatic one feels need to stop, fight back. It's stopping.
Yeah, of course, I get that, Janet. Yeah, and when they feel confronting and stuff like that, people do tend to run or fight. I get that. But yeah, definitely Gazelle. I'm definitely going to develop a next Scientology and critic of Scientology comedy show. You know, I am going to do it.
I can make you a little.
Here we go.
Think it's Scientology Gazelle. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I don't reckon I'd be too happy about that though.
No. I don't figure they're too happy about much though.
They're definitely not. Like, you know, we'd say we could laugh. No, we can't laugh. It's not in writing. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Confront and shatter, but it doesn't exist. Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
Like, let me use my OT abilities to fix the situation. I can feel it. I can feel it. No, it's just a brain aneurysm. Should have gone to the doctors. That's a dark one. That's a really dark one.
That is really dark. Oh, man.
That's a really dark one. Well, that happens though. Like, people like have suffered like brain like tumors and stuff like that because then they can't go to the doctors. It's got to the point where they've like died. It's horrible. I shouldn't joke about it, but it's a true one. It's a horrible one. The lack of being able to use medicine for a while in the church because it's out ethics. That's the sad one.
Taking medicine and stuff?
No,
Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's a big no-no within the church. No paracetamol, antibiotics. Can't even get acupuncture.
Yeah, it's alternative medicine and they won't, I've heard they won't allow it. And it almost killed Tori, and it did kill, his name is escaping me right now, but I have him in one of our videos. He had a seizure disorder as well, similar to Tori, and he was in the Fort Harrison Hotel, and he died, because he wasn't taking his seizure medicine. That could have very well been Tori. And I'm sure it happens more than we even know.
William Drummond's brother, I don't know if Billy will be all right with talking about this, but his brother was in the church. His whole family is very high ranking within the church in the UK.
What's not true?
But his brother was in the church, and he was having these headaches, according to Billy, and he kept on complaining about these headaches the whole time he was in there. And he eventually got the courage to not go with what the church is saying, because the church was just saying more auditing, more like purist rundowns, more auditing would eventually cure it. The only way out is through. By the time he got the courage to go and actually see a doctor, he had 7 brain tumors.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You have to get through a medical exam.
Fair enough. I didn't know that. That's interesting information. That's good. Doesn't know. Is that with a Scientology doctor law, Janet? Yeah, would that not be with a Scientology doctor law? But yeah, Billy's brother sadly passed away due to 7 brain tumors because by the time he went to the doctors, it was too late. And the doctor's report said basically if he came in a few years later, it would have been fine. Fair enough, Janet. Fair enough.
It's required, otherwise not allowed to move forward. doctor is fine. Oh, wow.
Any doctor is fine. Fair enough. I
Hmm.
didn't know that.
So
Is that new, though?
is it more just, is it just on the, like why would, I don't know.
I think it's more of like the mental capability of it, because they don't want someone having a psychotic or going type 3, as they call it, breakdown within inside the church, especially after the Lisa McPherson incident. So I think it may just be more of a psychiatric analysis more than anything, I imagine, Jenna. I don't know if I'm wrong by that, but I imagine it would be more of a psychiatric analysis by a doctor, just making sure you're in the right mindset, because Lisa McPherson, as you know, she went type 3, as they call it, had a mental breakdown, which is not pleasant. I don't think they want another.
I can't see I can't see Scientology allowing you to go to a psychiatrist.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's more of a psychological analysis. I don't mean by an actual psychiatrist. I mean just by a doctor, just a general test, making sure you're in the right mental state. So just testing for like depression, anxiety, and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Just making sure you're not susceptible to have a mental breakdown. No, you wouldn't be able. Oh, so it's not that sort of thing. All right, so it's just a physical then. It must just be like a physical, making sure like you've not got any serious defects. Then in that case, I don't know. I'll have to look into that, Janet. Thanks for that. I'll have to look into that.
That's definitely an interesting topic to think about, because to my knowledge, and like I still consider myself a baby at learning about this stuff. I don't consider knowing. I'm always like Janet or Melissa or Marisa or Matt.
Yeah,
What is
I
this
don't know
or Fox?
everything.
I don't know.
There's a lot that I don't know. I'm not a good professional at everything. I know a lot, but not everything. There's stuff that still bewilders me.
But
Like,
it's really fascinating, and I'm so thankful that I did get involved with this, because it's helped.
it's a life-changing opportunity.
It really is, and meeting the people that I have, including
I know you have
yourself,
to
have
manage your
all
steps before you
helped
do
me.
the
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Sorry, I was just replying to Janet about the
medically.
Yeah, I do believe, well, that's
Yeah.
normally with a Scientologist doctor, well, someone who's in with the church, to be honest, though, Janet, from what I've heard, to be honest, to sign you off on it. I know you do have to go to a doctor before doing the Purif. I've heard that quite a lot. But yeah, no, Lisa, getting to doing this and this whole experience of Scientology, like protesting, is something that I'm very thankful I actually got involved with, because I had no idea back in 2012 when I started reading. I'd be in this spot now where I'm actually doing a massive, like not a massive, but do you know what I mean? And ask me anything on a live stream about Scientology like this. Do you know what I mean? I never thought it'd happen. I never thought I'd get to this point of like someone actually wanting to hear what I have to say about Scientology. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's really humbling as well knowing that.
Yeah. You're really interesting to learn about, or to learn from, and you're very eloquent. And what I like about you is what I liked exactly about Lloyd Evans, is that you have the books. Like, if you ever get the opportunity to watch Lloyd Evans' channel, he's got a big bookcase right behind him of all the Watchtower Society magazines on it, and he just whips that out, just like you're doing. And
Yeah,
that's what I love about it.
I think these are two of my favourite things that I managed to get when I was inside of a church. And I don't think I could ever get these again unless I actually went inside of a church. So these are two of my most prized things I've got Scientology that I had to get hold of. And these are two full material charts of every single course material within Scientology. Now, it's too big for me to actually get on here in full. But let me step back a bit, hold on. Let me come back. Let's see if I can get it on, because there's a lot of, like, you're not going to be able to read it all, but this is massive. This is a full, every single course material there is in Scientology. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to give you a close one on this, because there's just too much on it, but that's one of my favourite things to have. I have broke it down before in pictures, but it's just too big for this to get actually on. And this is all the different ways of achieving clear, I believe. So yeah, this is the route to knowledge, which is basically every single route you have in Scientology to achieve the state of clear in the different ways. Of the most cheapest, the most lengthy. Oh yeah, which I'm quite lucky, Janet. When you're inside the church, yeah, you're looking at roughly around about $60, $70 a book, I believe, if not more for the course and tape materials. Like they're ridiculous money, but because I'm outside of the church, I get everything off eBay of and Amazon, where I can look on like the church's website on what is it now? Oh, it's been in my head all day. New Era publications, and they're charging like $60 a book. Well, that actually has a good ring to it. $60 a book. When I can go online and get the same book for like $10. It's one of the amazing things, like, of being outside the church. I can get the books, and I do want the full set of basics, and I'm slowly working my way towards it. It's just some of them, with the age of some of the books now, it's hard to get hold of good copies of them. Like, I've been quite fortunate when I've got these books. They've all come sealed with still the placards inside of them. All brand new copies of books, to be honest. Let's see if this one still has them in them. I'm not sure if it does. But I'm going to think I hate doing with books. No, it doesn't have it in it anymore. But these all come with like placards inside of it for like course material. And all come sealed. So I don't know how people are getting these sealed with still a Church of Scientology material inside of them. But I'm getting them somehow. And this one, a guide, a pre-clear handbook for pre-clears, came with actually an email attached to it with inside of it from a Scientologist who's actively active.
Plenty of trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, eBay and Amazon are great ones. But that handbook of pre-clears came with an email from Scientologists. From a Scientologist saying, "Hi, I've seen your shipping location is in Manchester. The nearest dog to you is this address. If you want more information about Scientology, please go here." Then I sent her an email back saying, "Hi, thank you for your email. I do want to let you know I'm quite a well-known critic here in the UK. Just for your benefit, I wouldn't advise emailing me or sending me any more books. I'll try to avoid your sale just for your benefit." And she was like, didn't get a response back, of course, but I always do that when a Scientologist gets in communication with me. I let them know who I am, that I'm well known to the church. I would advise this. And if they choose to remain in contact with me, that's their choice. But I let them know, like, I'm going to do you the benefit of the doubt and assume you didn't know who I was and avoid buying stuff from you or talking to you in the future for your benefit, not mine. Like, I'd love for you to come and chat and talk to me on the phone or email me any day of the week. But sadly, that wouldn't go well for you. You're in good standing. It's just back to the situation. And this is where I get called a lot of, like, by people sometimes, like an indie or like, I want to be Scientologist, because I have a mutual respect for them and I have a love for Hubbarian literature, as I call it. So I have a love for Hubbard's books. I love reading them. I love the tech. I love the look of them as well. Like, some of the books you get, like, for example, it's amazing, like, amazing duck covers. It's so good quality, the books, that they're all like rope bound and stuff. Like, I love Scientology. Don't cheap out on the books.
No.
All high gloss paper and stuff. I really like Scientology material. Like, it's got an elegance to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's got a niche that I've never seen before, apart from with Scientology. Like, it's all silver, it's all embroiled. Like, it's a weird one. I've got a real love for Scientology literature. What can I say? I'm a bit weird. But it has, like, just, I don't know what it is. It's just got a niche to it like no one else has ever met. Do you know what I mean? Like, for goodness sake, they've got one of the biggest printing presses in the world in 2 locations. Turning out, I think it's in like 20 million books a day. Something daft like, oh, a week or something daft like that. It's a stupid amount of printing they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Janet. The proper written marketing. It's even like the cheapest, like, Cosmic book you can get. 35 quid has like a nice niche to it. Like, I've had this for a couple of years and it's still in pretty much pristine condition, apart from a bit of like scuffing on the edges. It's got so much like durability to it.
Even the pamphlets are like perfect color.
Oh yeah, it's like these. They give out these for free. They must print off hundreds of these like DVD covers. But
Yeah.
even like
Yeah, I have that too. Yeah. That's one of the things they handed out in Denver. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the DVDs, for goodness sake. They put time and effort into the DVDs that you put into the computer into your like
Mhm.
DVD player. It's like
Isn't it am I mistaken? Is it ASI that does all the printing or am I wrong?
it's New Era Dynetics over here, I believe. They've
Okay.
got their own printing company over here, which is based in Denmark, if I'm correct. That's
Okay.
New Era Publications. Let me just double check. Bridge Publications.
Is that
Sorry, my bad. Bridge Publications.
is is there this is a silly question, but is there a difference between New Era and ASI, or is it the same thing in just different countries? Or
I think it's the same thing, just in different countries. Um, let me check. See, this is a New Era. Same thing, just different countries. Like I think New Era is the older one, and like as you can see on this one here, I'll see if I can get a close up of it. Like this is all Bridge Publications. That's by that little gold band there.
yeah,
It's
okay.
Bridge Publications. Where this is all
Okay.
the older books like this one in New Era. I think the hardbacks are Bridge, and then softbacks are New Era. I mean, I'm not too sure though. I just know they're pretty much the same company. I think it's just a remodel, or depending where we in the world. Because I know Bridge is in Denmark. I think New Era is probably what is it? ICS, ISI? What did you say? I don't know.
I didn't say
I think it just depending on
it's
where you are in the
funny.
world.
One of there's an ex-Scientologist that's on a lot of the groups on our group too. He used to work for ASI. He actually stayed with me for him and his wife stayed with me for a couple of days. Charlie and Cindy Updegrove, awesome people. I can't wait to get him on live one day because he is full of freaking knowledge about that. I only hit the tip of the iceberg with excuse me. My phone I lost my little thing that holds my phone. So it's very ghettoly, like chilling on a box.
You don't want to see mine because I've just put mine on charge. That's what all the rustling was a few minutes ago. It's on a tower of DVDs. A few of them are pulled forward so it can slip behind them and push back so it can still charge but not slip. It remains at eye level.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I have this really cool thing. It like goes up like this and like hold your phone like all cool so you don't have to mess with it. Yeah, I can't find
I need to stop using
it.
DVDs for it because I've got visions of this phone just going straight onto my coffee table and just smashing it. I'm smashing the phone. I can see it happening.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny. No, man. So let's see here. You've answered that question. How do you feel that the average person, a supporter, can get involved, that doesn't know much about Scientology, that doesn't have a lot of money, in their community and, on a national level?
Read. That's to start off with. Read. A lot of the critic books about Scientology are free online. A lot of them are. You've got A Piece of Blue Sky, Barefaced Messiah, The Complex by John Didion. A lot of the books are free online. I'll post links in the description of this and also on the comment section about where you can read all these critic books online for free PDF forms. Same with a lot of like Dianetics. Just read. Read. Get information. You need to arm yourself up with as much information about this church as you can get. That's your biggest ammo because the church love calling people bigots and saying they don't know what they're talking about. I've said that over and over again. Make sure you arm yourself with as much information as you can get so you can turn around saying, oh, no, I'm not. I've read your books. I've read your tech. I know your policies. I'm not saying dive in all at once head first and read everything you can read because you'll overdo it. Gradually, like I said, it's been 7 years for me and I'm still reading information. I'm still reading
Right.
books about Scientology and what they've wrote. Then second of all, leaflets. Like, I'll post a link to where these leaflets are so you can download them. They're very, very good at leaflets. Like, they're anonymous ones, but they have the information about Scientology lies, how to lock up people, breaking the law, documented history of criminal activities, and then links about basically where you can find information about Scientology. Now, these can be printed A5 or A4 where you can get 4 of them and cut them out very cheaply, like online through different places. So these are great. Like, if you want, I can ship you some. I've got like 1,000 of them in here that I've not given out. I've had them for like 3 years. So you want, I can send you some leaflets. Leaflet, post them through doors, pin them up to lampposts next to orgs. Maybe I kind of remember once what I did, because I've got a whole huge overhaul of them. I literally on the wall next to the org, I basically taped up about 100 of them and just left. And let people just take them as those walking past to get them out. Even if they blow in the wind, someone's going to see it blowing down and eventually pick it up to find out what it is.
Right.
And I did it smart once. I did it and I saw the church, one of the Scientologists coming out taking them off the wall. I'm like, ha ha ha, you're taking them into your org now.
Yeah. Somebody's going to see them.
Hey, I'm taking SP material inside your org. Someone's going to read that who shouldn't read that. It's going to happen. So yeah, all I can say is just read, leaflet, watch as many documentaries as you can. There's some on YouTube, I believe. And just get public information now. Even if you don't know very much, just get basic information. And just, I did it at first when I first started before I met Open Anonymous. I stood on a street corner for like a few hours and just started screaming about what I knew about Scientology, about Xenu, space aliens. And just start. Small steps make ripples.
Yeah.
You throw a small pebble in the pond, it makes ripples. So if you can stand there just by yourself for at least like 20 minutes and just talk to someone and say, hey, do you know about Scientology? Check out Xenu.net. Even if you do that to like people you pass in the street saying, check out Xenu.net, someone's eventually going to go to Xenu.net and like, what the hell is this idiot talking about?
Right.
And then ripples. Exactly. They're going to Google Xenu or go to Xenu.net, and then the ripples happen. They start reading into Scientology. They start going on. Then they're like, hold on, what the fuck's this? And they share it to their friends. They're like, hold on, have you heard about this? This is on our doorstep. It's down the road. Like, what's this about? Why is this here? And then public opinion goes up. Then you have public outcry. Like, why is this here? Why is it still here? What's going on inside there? Just small stuff like stone in a pebble makes ripples. Sorry, I mean a stone in a pond makes ripples.
Right, I getcha. Totally getcha.
It's literally how I started. I literally used to stand there telling people to go to Xenu.net. I literally had a sign on it, and I stood on a street corner when Anonymous broke up, because it's the only sign I had that said go to Xenu.net to learn about Scientology. And I stood there for about an hour every weekend, like Saturday and Sunday, for about an hour a day during like midday, when I knew Manchester was busy with a sign saying go to Xenu.net to learn about Scientology outside the ROG. And before you knew it, people started doing it. I'd then be out there and people was like, oh, I saw you a few weekends ago. I went to that website. It's crazy what they're doing in there, isn't it? And then you'd have a conversation. And then it starts building, and you have someone saying, oh, what can I do to get involved? So you'd like stand out here with a sign that says go to Xenu.net. And then you have 2 of you doing it. And then so on. It grows. It's crazy.
Yeah. Said all different corporations, I believe, they're owned by Miscavige Scientology, back to ASI.
Yeah. See, I don't reckon David Miscavige actually owns anything, you know.
Well, ASI was around because Charlie Abdegrove, he is an older and maybe, I don't know. Charlie Miscavige. Charlie Abdegrove, he was around back in the 70s, I believe, in Kansas City, the Kansas City, or working for ASI. Back and forth to Los Angeles. I know he ended up in Los Angeles because that's where he left Scientology. Is when he left Scientology, he joined, or he like left Scientology, lost everything, lost his son, his wife, and ended up on Skid Row.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, but in turn, he turned around his life. He worked for the power company, and he built his life and retired. He's retired now and has a
awesome wife. And I mean, his son still doesn't talk to him, and it's very unfortunate, and hopefully he'll come around. But the things that even his son has been indoctrinated to say to him and his daughter-in-law, I mean, when they came and visited him, said, it doesn't matter if I talk to you or not, I'll still get all your stuff when you die.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's rough. That's horrible.
Like, and these are some of the sweetest people, like it runs on both sides. Like Scientologists, I don't believe are bad people, but they're bred to do really bad things sometimes, like with no emotion, and it's really sad. But they're Sea Org members too. Yeah, you're breaking up just a bit.
Yeah, we lost signal, sorry.
Well,
What I was
excuse
gonna
you
say is
smiling
I
on the
reckon what a
screen.
lot of can you hear me still though?
Yeah, all I saw you I saw you smile on the screen for like 30 seconds. That's all
Yeah,
Okay,
I
but I
lost
can see you
signal
moving
completely
now.
there. But what I was gonna say is a lot of that comes from basically the church branding this person himself as a bad person, so his kids start believing it because they've got no option to, otherwise they're going to kick you out of church. And a lot of the stuff about the money that I was on about is if you get everything, is the church probably pressuring them into it, saying, put pressure on him, make you feel uncomfortable. And you're going to get that money and it's going to go to us. They don't say that directly though, but look, this money can pay for you going up the bridge. It can pay for your family going up the bridge. It can pay for this, that, and the other. You can make it to an STIS. You can get a status. Think about all the great stuff you can do for humanity and the humankind. You don't need to care about him. He's a DB, a degraded. Is an SP, is a DB, is a degraded being. Fuck him. Literally, is what they'll probably be saying to his kids. Fuck him. He left humanity. He didn't care about the planet or himself or other people. Why should you need him? Now that's not true, obviously, but that's what they tell the kids. And the kids are like, shit, yeah, good point. He abandoned the cause then, Jay. We're here fighting for the best thing on the planet for the greater good of the greater good for the greatest number of dynamics at the end of the day. If he can't like figure out his own dynamics and put his dynamics in order, who needs him? And that's the mindset that they're in from being in the church. And it's really, really sad. It's horrible to see. But that's what the church does to you. It makes you very, very self-efficient in the wrong ways. Do you know what I mean? It makes you self-efficient in the wrong ways and makes you believe that you're superior to everyone else. And what they're also taught is something we've touched on is when you get later into the teachings of Scientology, they start touching on your family isn't your family. You're an infinite being with infinite lifetimes. At the end of the day, you know them now, but you're not going to know them next lifetime. Why should you care?
Right.
If they're not willing to go through it with you now and have that pact, that's their choice. You don't need them. You're going to live countless lifetimes and be happy and a spiritually free being. You're going to be able to change the world. If not this lifetime, next lifetime. If not lifetime after that. But you're going to make a difference. You're really putting in the work and the effort. You're the person, along with everyone else in this organization, that's going to really help the planet. We're humanity's only hope. And that's the scary side of it. That's generally the mindset that they're drilled into. That's how people get roped into the Sea Org. It's like, you want to be elite. You want to help humanity and make sure people are helping humanity correctly. You want to make sure everything's applied correctly and done right. Exactly. Let's do this. Let's get you on Sea Org. You can be the elite of the elite. It's sad.
It is. It is really sad. It shocked, like, to go back to a Leah episode with Tyler Adams. Are you familiar with Tyler Adams? The guy, he's got a patch on his eye.
I don't think I've seen that one, but yeah, go on.
He's very active on Facebook, but he's got a patch on his eye. He's lost his eye, actually working on Big Blue.
Oh shit.
They had improper tooling, and a guy swung back and took his eye out. And I kind of like forgot the point of this, but it's crazy what I just totally lost my train of thought right there. I don't remember where I was going with that. I'm sorry, guys.
But everybody should learn about Tyler Adams. I don't remember where I was going with that. Everybody should learn about Tyler Adams. I don't remember where I was going with that.
I was talking
What were
about
we
the
talking
mindset that
about?
I wasn't about the mindset they put you in when you're in like the CO about you're the best of the best and like you're gonna be the difference regardless of what happens. And you start talking about Tyler Adams
Right,
working on
right,
you.
right. And it doesn't matter like what you go through because literally the next day or a couple days after that, he's back in there doing demolition again after losing his
Exactly.
eye. And they don't care. Like
No,
they really honestly, he's
he
just a body.
yeah, exactly. He's just a body, isn't him for a lifetime. What also comes in with that is when he was in the church, he would have been like trained to realize he poured it in. He caused that action. He needs to handle
Mm-hmm.
his like fucking suppressives and his withholds and fucking get back out there and make a difference. That's literally what the mindset they're in. Is like, that's my own fault. Fuck it. I need to go and do this. This is the next step for humanity. This is what's pushing forward. Without me doing this, no one else is going to do it for me. I need to do this.
Right. I remember
Like,
where I was going with that. In that episode, um, it wasn't him, but it was another couple, and I can't remember their name right now. But basically, they had mortgaged their house. They had, of course, prepaid for a bunch of courses, and this is like a repetitive story between, for a lot of exes. But when they went back to get a refund, which of course is not allowed, they said to them, "We're saving it for your next lifetime."
yeah,
That is
that
what they
doesn't
told them.
that doesn't surprise me though. That makes
No.
complete sense. That makes. Do you know what's worried about this? Like, if I told that to an old person, they'd be like, "What the fuck?" To me, that's just like that's Scientology for you. That's actually like that's logical,
Yes,
which is scary.
yes.
Like that's a logical answer. Like it's like okay, that makes sense. Coming from it, if you told that to anybody else on the planet who doesn't know what Scientology is, they're like, "What the fuck?" But it's like to anyone who knows what Scientology is, like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Like,
It's
my
not something
my
you should laugh
electric
about.
table is due now in this lifetime.
But yeah, it's like
Oh my,
it's not something you should laugh about, but at the same time, all you can do about it is
yeah.
laugh about it, to be honest, when you're out. I imagine
Yeah.
they probably had a giggle about it, to be honest, when they got that response. Like, not straight away, but afterwards they can look back at it and just giggle, like, well, that's Scientology. We know that now.
I mean,
Because what else?
all of their faces, like all of their faces when they said that was just like, what? Like because
Yeah,
they
exactly, that's what I
knew it was
mean.
such a Scientology answer, but it's just like coming from an outsider's like because you have to think from an outsider's perspective, like you were
Yeah,
saying, like anybody else would have been like, no, like
yeah.
I
At
need this,
home,
my rent is due, like my
yeah, like,
what?
people watching from at home who don't know what Scientology is watching that show would have been like, what the fuck is this organization? And you've got all the critics and like Mark and Rindle there, Leah and like Mike Blair just pissing themselves like, well, there we go again. Whoopsie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can't get mad about it
Oh
either
my,
because the church want you to get mad about it. Do you know what I mean? You can't feed the beast. Like you don't want to get mad or angry about it because that's what they're counting on. They're counting on you getting angry and taking revenge. They want that, like, do you know what I mean? They want that on you. So if you laugh about it, it makes the church go like, oh shit, they kind of know this is happening. It takes all the power
yeah,
away from the church. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh well, fuck, I just make it again. I've done it. I've made it once before. I just do it again. Do you know what I mean? You'll find a way. Which I know is a very
yeah,
Scientological way of thinking, but as being ex-Scientologist, a part of their brain would have been like, oh, make it go right. Which is sad to
right,
say, but a part of the brain was like, okay, we've got to make it go right somehow. Let's just do it. Which links
right.
in with what I was saying about certain parts of Scientology being really, really useful. Is the aspect of making it go right, no matter what your situation is, no one's going to fix it for you apart from yourself. You've got to make it go right somewhere, really, but which applies to everyone. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to come and
Right.
scoop up your mess because you made it. You've got to do it yourself. Along with what the Sea Org and staff train you for as well, being very, very like self-determined and like very, very like we need to do this, we need to do this now. That's one thing I respect about Billy William Drummond so much. When I lived with him, he's very stubborn, but for the right things, if that makes sense. He's stubborn in his ways because of what he went through in Scientology, but that's made him a great worker, very determined and good for the cause. Because
Right.
Scientology breeds these very, very determined and self-efficient people where they're in that mindset of like, no one's going to do this fucking for me, no one's going to hold my hand. We need to make it go right and fucking do it. Which I believe, like I said, in certain ways of Scientology, coach people on just that specifically about handling your own shit in the right ways about the abuse, it'd be a very, very fucking useful organization. It'd be like military. They train you to handle shit that's going on in your life and making it work when you don't have anything else to do. Like it's one of them things. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. Scientology. There's some great stuff in it, like making it go right, being self-determined, hard-working. But then there's also all the abuse and the downfalls of this connection, the forced abortions, the heartbreaks, the lack of medical care that you can get, the not being paid. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot more cons than there is pros, but people who've been in Scientology do come out a lot stronger, a hell of a lot stronger, a lot more determined to do stuff. They're fucking crazy people.
Oh yeah,
like,
they're
in a good way.
extremely hard workers.
Yeah, exactly. They're a breed of their own, like they're crazy, but the good crazy. They're crazy as in they're self-determined and hard workers. They don't take shit for anyone and they tell you as it is. Because that's what it is in Scientology. You get told as it is and you make it go right. Which is, it's a crazy one.
Yeah. Some of the best people I've met are ex-Scientologists.
Yeah.
And I'll say that to be again true because Melissa Paris, I tell you, Anne Krasnowski, I don't know if I ever say her name right, and Marisa Sigmund, those three girls.
Oh, yes, they are
they're fucking badass.
They can do anything then. Literally, they've done anything they've wanted to do. Like Melissa Paris, for example, she's just graduated law school, hasn't she? Which is fucking awesome.
I believe she's to graduate masters, and she's just kicking ass. Like this little girl who was thrown down steps, not at St. Hill, but at what is the other one in Sussex, I think.
No, that is St. Hill.
Not St. Hill. Maybe it's not Sussex. It's the other one. When she was joined the cadet org, she was thrown down stone steps. She broke her arm, was thrown out in the winter cold with no shoes, and abused. And this woman now is kicking ass at life. Like literally kicking ass at life.
Like
and I don't know if you know this, but her daughter, like there was a shooting at a school here in Texas, and her daughter was in that school.
Fuck.
Like this girl has been through the shits, and she just keeps fucking going. Her and Valeska are both like that, and like I have mad respect for them both. And if you know, I can't. They're just the hardest workers. I know.
Yeah, it's like Melissa. She's not been, and Valeska, isn't it? They've not been out very long, have they? Like they've been out for a few years, but not massively a long time either. Like, am I wrong with that? Have they been out for quite a while?
I'm not. I couldn't tell you exactly how long they've been out. I would be lying.
I know it's not crazy long. Well, I know it's a decent amount of time, but it's relatively short amount of time compared to the amount of time they've been out for, and they're kicking ass like they are, which is crazy. But I hope if Melissa sees this, she corrects me if I'm wrong, because I'm so sorry if I'm wrong with that, and she's been out for ages. I don't know. But from what I've seen, I don't think she's, because she came on the scene quite suddenly a few years ago. Do you know what I mean? Out of pretty much nowhere. So I imagine she's only been speaking out for a short time. I'm not sure, but I give her respect regardless how long she's been out. She's pulled her life together and fucking took it by the balls. Do you know what I mean? Just stormed forward. Same with Valeska.
Yeah. In the article that Australian Women's Magazine posted yesterday about them, it said that they had been separated for 15 years. Like they didn't talk. 15 freaking years.
Exactly.
And I mean, found out her mother died from a note on her fence.
Fucking hell.
Like, it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no sympathy, no empathy, none. They don't at all. But that's what they were indoctrinated to believe or to do.
Yeah. So, how psychology thinks is she's not your mother. You shouldn't really care. She's gone. Oh well. I know that's the heartbreaking bare faced of it. Do you know what I mean? That's literally Scientology at its core. Like, it's not going to affect you. Move on. Which is heartbreaking. That's the fucking mother, and all they do is leave her a note saying she's gone. She's dropped her body. Which is like, it's cruel. It's so heartbreaking. That's why we protest, though. That's why we do this. At the end of the day, for stories like that, for the sake of like Melissa, for Marisa, for Victoria, for all the shit they've been through, and everyone else who's coming forward speaking out. Like Mike, he was at the top of the food chain, but he went through some shit. Leah, every ex, to be honest, John Dignan, Billy, so many to name who we have in our circle. Yeah.
I mean, Janet Allen.
That's why we do it, though. As a critic, that's why I do it. I don't get anything out of it. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And
I have
Stephen just joined. Hey, Stephen. It is about 5 o'clock here, and I know it's probably getting pretty late over there, but I do want to end it on this note. And I want you to point out the most important thing you want our viewers to remember in their activism, and things that'll keep them safe in their activism that have kept you safe. Because I think that's really important to talk about. Yeah.
So when you say keeping myself safe, that's quite an iffy one. I've not really done much to secure that. I've been quite broad and open, but I've been quite stupid with it too. And so I've been told time and time again when I got it, keep it low profile, keep it safe, don't do anything stupid. And I kind of broke all them rules. But yeah, don't do what I've done. Don't make yourself openly obvious to the church about who you are, where you are, because you won't just put yourself in danger, you put your family in danger as well. I have to literally live in paranoia of my family at any moment having church watched in their house. I've got a little brother and sister and a mum, do you know what I mean? Quite close to me. And I've been there after and tweet from there, so they've got her IP address. Like, I've been there after protest straight away. Like, so I've got to worry about them being there. So don't make yourself openly visible to them. Don't give them like sensitive information that I've done in the past. Don't try infiltrating orgs. That's it. Do not go into orgs. Do not sign up for staff. Do not do a course. They will get you hooked. They will keep you in, and that's game over. No matter how much you think you know, they will get you in. If it wasn't for my previous history and William Drummond guiding me through how to do it, I would have been in Satan Hill right now, away from my family and friends, never to see them again. Do not, without knowledge or at all, go into an org and sign up for a course, even just to see what it's like. It's not worth the risk. That is the final note I want to leave this on. Do not be stupid when handling the Church of Scientology. They're a stupidly important, well, not important, but a stupidly big and financially wealthy organization that have made countless people disappear in the past and will make countless people disappear in the future. They are not to be messed with. They're not a game. It's a serious, dangerous organization run like a mafia. They've got top lawyers all around the world. They will crush you at any moment if they feel like you're a threat. Do your research, learn about them, tweet online, protest in groups, never do anything alone. Ever. Which the hypocrites, I do everything alone. But don't do what I do because I'm stupid. See, my partners even agree with me now saying I'm stupid, but I'm stupid. I do everything alone, which is an idiot move because anything could happen to me at any moment and nobody would know about it. So don't do it. Tweet, read
She's
up.
Like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah. She knows nothing. This is only getting the service with me. Yeah, protesting groups.
She looks like a ginger. She can handle it.
But yeah, protesting groups. Don't go anything alone when you're doing anything with the Church of Scientology. Don't go into the orgs to sign up for a course because trust me, if I wasn't already a critic of the church and they knew who I was, and if I didn't have William Drummond guiding me through my hand, who's been in the church for 50 years, I would have easily gone to Satan Hill. Because when I was in the church, it puts you in an environment where you thrive. It's one of the most inviting, safest environments you'll ever be in your life. It's one of the most inviting. It's like a safe haven where nobody hates you, no one discriminates about you or your beliefs. Nobody wants to harm you or anything. That's what you believe. But trust me, they will whisk you away to the other side of the country in a split second if they have a chance. They tried doing it with me. They've tried doing it with countless others, and they have done it with countless others. There's been fathers and sons and daughters and mothers separated across the USA because they've done one course, and one course is all it takes.
Yep.
And I can't stress that enough.
I totally get. That's just wild to me, like crazy. But just to touch back on what you were saying about your apartment being raided, and it reminds me of, I don't know how legit the officers were that raided, Arnie Lerma, and I don't even want to really bring him up because that just
Yeah.
the whole thing about him
Northwest
breaks my heart.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah, it happened to him countless times.
from I'm not a police officer, but I have grown up with a lot of law enforcement, in my family. If you are ever stopped, and this is not just to you, this is to any viewer that sees this.
Everyone.
If you're ever stopped by a police officer in an area by yourself, you always have the right, no matter in what country, to call into your local police headquarters to make sure that's an actual police officer. If there's somebody at your door claiming to be a police officer, before you let them in, you always have the right to call and make sure the validity of who they are. And you don't have to let them in before they do.
Yes. Don't do what I did and just open the door at 6 in the morning and let 4 police officers turn the flat upside down. Don't do that, because that's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Right.
Especially when the police have no record of it at all and no follow-up has been done.
Right.
Don't let them do it.
Right. And that's just like a safety precaution for anybody. Like if anybody shows up at your door claiming to be the police, don't let them in unless you call first, especially if you're by yourself home alone. Like don't do it. Because they could be anybody.
Exactly.
They could be Scientology dressed up.
That's all right. I was going to say Scientology has the money to buy police outfits, police cars, to do everything they need to do to pose as police as realistic as they can. They've got the money and the means. Scientology have got people working within the banks, the police force, the insurance companies, within the financial district, within the court systems. Like, there's Scientologists that will go to orgs getting people credit cards to pay for courses because they have people working in the bank. They have people in the courts, they have people in the police officers, and they have people in the fire department. They have people placed everywhere that they need them to be to help them. So don't trust anyone if you're protesting against Scientology, is what I'm saying.
Right. They've essentially done what they set out to do in Australia, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, when it was outlawed in Australia and they had to move basically to England when it was just when the raids happened there. Their goal, and L. Ron Hubbard's goal, was to take over law enforcement, the courts, have people working in those systems so Scientology could take over the country.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just moved their shit out and are doing it at other places like the United States now. That's allowing them to do it because of 501c3 status.
Exactly. Sorry, my phone just fell, so I've had to pick it up, so I'm just trying to adjust it. Sorry.
You're okay. I've really enjoyed this talk. It's been amazing.
I have. It's been an interesting one. It's been a good one. There's so much more I could cover, but it's getting late now. It's 11 p.m. here. It's been, wow, 3 hours goes quick.
It does. It really does. I appreciate you giving your time to us. When you get your YouTube uploaded, send it over and I'll get it shared. Like I said, I appreciate everything you've, like I've said this twice, shared with us, and I can't express that enough. And Janet and everybody else who's joined in and commented, thank you. Visit the Aftermath Foundation, donate, learn about them. They help Sea Org members and ex-Scientologists get out. Anything you'd like to add?
Just be safe. Scientology, I can't reiterate this enough, it's a powerful organization. Don't do anything drastic. Just remember the people and they who have just got themselves in an unfortunate situation with an organization who have defrauding them, basically. They're subject to fraud. It's not their fault they're in there. They're not idiots. They're not stupid. They wanted to do good stuff. They're just in the wrong place. So be courteous with them. Be nice. And most importantly, stay safe. If you're going out protesting, make sure people know where you're going out protesting. If you can, take someone with you. If not, like I said, I normally try to like keep up posted on Twitter what I'm doing, or like live stream when I am protesting so people know I'm safe and everything that's captured in video. If you do get stopped where you're protesting by Scientologists or stalked by them, video them, get it on evidence, because the more evidence you have is better for you, because they have been known in the past to be violent towards protesters, shout abuse, all sorts. So if you're out protesting, keep a camera on you. Your phone's got a camera on it these days, so just video everything you can do if you are out protesting. Stay safe. And if you want any advice, any more information, I'm going to put both myself Twitter and the I Support Leah Remini's Twitter in this as well in the comments, just so you can ask any additional questions that you need to. Because
Yes.
information's power against this cult. That's all I can say. Information's power.
It is definitely. Well, we will wrap up now. Thank you again, Matt, for your
Thank you for
time.
having me.
All righty. Later.
Bye. Bye.